prosecutor in the Trump case in Atlanta, the same chick that's doing the Young Thug case. Yeah, we'll get into it though. But
Interesting.
everybody, what up? Thanks for coming through. It's a little later than usual, but there was it's a bit of an important game on the television. So maybe maybe one of us here had a vested interest in seeing this game and seeing how the outcome turned out, right? So normally it would be on me, but it's not today, and
Yeah,
here's a good reason.
normally it's him. Normally it's him, but
Yeah,
it was
I'll,
me this
I'll,
time,
I'll,
y'all.
I'll cop to that. Yeah, I'll
Yeah,
cop to that.
some very
The
interesting
Chiefs.
playoff
Real quick,
news. Hmm.
the Chiefs look good specifically because they were able to run the ball often, right? They were running the ball more than having Mahomes do his usual, like, I'm a magician type of plays, right? Um,
I would have hit the ceiling
Miami,
if they didn't.
yeah, Miami looked off. Tua,
Well,
Tua was Tua. I mean, especially there in the fourth, he was throwing the ball. It looked all kind of odd, like Aki. Like it just didn't make any. It didn't look right. So I don't know. But anyway,
but I
Kansas
mean,
City
I
walks
told
away
I
with.
told I told everybody that. I said two is the worst thing to look to. And for the people who are not sports fans and all that, just bear with us for a little bit. We will get to what y'all want to hear. But I told everybody, I said, you got a
Word.
Hawaiian kid, or I mean Samoan kid, coming out to who's been playing in Florida and then gonna come to play one of his coldest games he's ever played in his life in a on the road stadium, which they don't do good on the road. He doesn't do good in the cold, and you factor all that in, it's not good. So, of course, Meteor Dreams, we will definitely talk about that. And we're gonna go into it, in depth, and we're gonna kind of try to breeze through some of these other stories. I mean, of course, I got a little news rundown, some stuff, and then Chris got a couple of stories that he wanted to kind of bring up. We can touch on them real quick. That way, we just put it in you guys' head that you guys are paying attention to this stuff. Um, and then we'll get into two stories that we both I know that Chris has been paying a little bit of attention to the ICJ case. I've definitely been paying attention to it. We're definitely gonna get into the terror tunnels. um, that was Chris's decision on the name, and I was like, you know what? I sometimes
Look in the
I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just
um.
do it. Why not?
No, look. Honestly, they name everything, right? You don't have rockets. You have rocket terror rockets, right? Or you have Hamas
Hmm.
rockets, or you
I
don't have
mean,
tunnels.
good point.
You have Hamas tunnels. They're not tunnels, right? So I
True. They just
figure
not tunnels. They are awesome. Yeah.
if we keeping up with just how if we keeping up with the game, then these are the rules, right?
Right. 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 And so, I mean, and I was like, you know what? After that explanation, I definitely see where he's going with it, and I like it. And I'm pretty sure you guys have all seen everybody else's content, whatever, and different views on it. But we're just gonna go. We're gonna go a couple places. Just walk with us when we get there. All right. That's all. That's all we asked for. But I guess so. We can go ahead and get this thing kicked off. It's kind of ironic. The first one that I want. Let's start with something a little fun. Chris literally brought this up. I want to say last week. I mean, and it was kind of like an offhand comment, but he brought this up. Y'all remember the little Peruvian alien? Y'all remember that story? Chris, do you
Yeah,
got the video? You remember talking
yeah.
about that?
Uh huh.
Yeah. And it's so funny. that that the Peruvian government would come out and talk about this story. And of course, me and him, we was like, this is BS, this is nonsense. But it wasn't quite, yes, the tiny ones, Johns. It wasn't quite, it turned into being something that I did not expect. Actually, the other one. Got the other one, because I think this one, it just kind of shows the press conference. But I mean, that is kind of cool because it shows like they have it in like a little dress. And then it's also other skulls that accompany with that one. So if y'all see that video, it's kind of interesting. But this one, they go into detail talking about these little these little, I don't know what to call them, but these little statues, we could say. The only thing that I was wondering is
they looked fugazi from the moment they showed it to us.
No doubt.
Yeah,
say Chris knows something about the 9-foot aliens in Miami. Yeah. You hear what Thomas said?
Exactly.
Said, Chris knows something about the 9-foot aliens in Miami Mall. He holding out on us. He probably was out drinking with him last week.
Probably, right?
They was like, yo, can you handle the blick?
There's probably a good chance. There's probably a real good chance of that.
John said they're edible. Oh, wow. Street said, I saw one at the grocery store yesterday. He's probably reading the TV guide, too.
See?
Take a look. No, these are not aliens. That is the verdict from Peruvian officials. They seized these two doll-like figures last year from a shipment heading to Mexico. Forensic experts with Peru's prosecutor's office say the objects were made with paper, glue, metal, and human and animal bones.
So, look, they had everybody sharing that whole video last year. Sorry, Amy, we didn't want you. But you see, everybody made the big deal out of that shit. Yo, you saw the aliens. Of course, we seen them, but we knew that was some bullshit from the start. You know, that was you know, they put oregano in the bag and told you it was some gas, right?
Hey, and in Florida, they sprayed the smell stuff on it too. Like, hey man, smell it,
they got the
weed
perfume.
Yeah, smell it good.
They got the weed perfume.
And you know that shit.
People who didn't know. Yeah. They got a whole bunch of flavors too.
I had somebody try to get me on that shit plenty of times.
Yeah, they'll have you thinking it's some fire from the gods, right? And that shit is Bobby Brown, Reggie Bush.
But you know, I figured we would start on that because that just was a reminder, tail end off of last week's story. So next, kind of ironic, Buffalo, their game. Oh yeah, that's right. You know, I didn't have the story pulled up, but the weather, how cold it's been all over the place. And first time I remember in a while that they've rescheduled a playoff game. I don't know if y'all saw what Buffalo's looking like. I heard something like, I don't know, did you hear anything about like the power outages in New York? Because I heard over 500,000 lost power in New York.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, upstate New York always gets a lot of snow. I saw the pictures of their stadium. I can't remember the name of it, but I saw the pictures of the stadium this morning. It was packed. Actually, the Buffalo Bills organization put something out on the internet saying to people they'll pay them $20 an hour to come shovel out the arena, and they'll give them breaks and food and all that other stuff. But they moved the governor of New York, Hochul. She decided to reschedule the game to Monday. So no game. They said it was too cold, not safe enough, all that yada yada. You know, ironically, if you look on Twitter, Bills fans, you see how many of them jumping on tables full of fire. That shit is funny too. I didn't even know that till today, because they were like,
"Yeah,
yo,
that's something they do."
They say, "Yo, it was too cold to play." they said it's too cold to play in Buffalo, but then they showed the fans also jumping on tables of fire. So,
Hey, I mean, it's part of the they call it the Bills Mafia. That's part of a thing, like jumping on tables. So, I mean, I don't know what tradition that is, but that's something that they do up there. I mean, when you bored out in the middle of nowhere, you come up with weird shit to do.
You see, that's what I was gonna say, because in the city, we don't have where the hell we ain't got time and space or energy for that. Nah.
And I mean, like, don't that get expensive?
Yeah. And then you rolling around and pissed and nah, that's not the move.
It's funny. I was reading this comment from Gregory over on the Rock Fan. He said Dusty E.T.
On a Rock Fan.
Which that's the perfect nickname. We're gonna start calling him Dusty E.T. whenever people bring that shit up.
E.T. I mean, it looked like it, right?
Actually, what it is Dusty E.T. had a stillborn.
Damn.
I'm sorry, that went dark.
Year, be nice. Yeah, it's
I'm
a new
sorry.
year. Be nice. Wait till February.
Yeah, I don't know. My sense of humor goes all over the place. Sometimes it's dry, sometimes on point, sometimes it be dark. I'm talking about like Wesley Snipes in the late 80s dark. I'm talking Charlie Murphy dark.
Damn.
I'm talking Grace Jones, Conan dark.
Damn. Yeah, she was dark at Conan. You had to see Conan to catch that reference.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know about no Conan. Well, some of y'all do. But what's up, Janice? Let's see Janice in the house. We didn't even shout out to everybody. What's up, Meteor Dreams? John Kemper's in the building. Mr. Streets. Thomas is here. I saw Pretty is here also. Ambassador Scorpio. And I see Jira Brown here. Warren is here also. He says he's gonna pass out. I'll be moving to Chicago. Be there by Tuesday. Oh, that's big news. So our brother Warren is gonna become a Midwest guy. So good stuff, good stuff. But and shout out to Gregory also.
Good. Shout out to Warren. Good luck on your. Yeah. Shout out to Warren. Good luck on your move. You already know. Also, I cannot get jiggy with this shit. Huh?
Michael Black Ass Blackston dark.
Oh damn.
But let's see. So as you guys come in, if you're new to catching our streams, glad to have you here. Welcome. We try to be very interactive with the chat. So if you guys have questions, comments, you want to hop in and add anything to the discussion, please do so. Speaking of Buffalo,
but it's funny you mentioned that. One of the top things for 2023 we forgot in the countdown for us personally was when we had homie come on the show when he called.
The alien call.
I even forgot what he was saying, but just in my mind, I just remember
he was like, "Yeah, the aliens coming," and they go, "Oh." I'm probably gonna have to go back and find that episode and clip that. Turn that into a short for everybody. I'm gonna have to turn that into a short. I hope he's a listener, because we gotta have him come back on the show one of these times. Chris was like, "Man, this fucking troll. I'm not buying this shit." And I'm like, "Man, just give him some time. Let old boy rock. Let's see where it goes." And see, we got some gold. Got some gold. Oh,
what did he say, Mark? Yo,
oh.
What did he say?
I mean, I got to go back and remember it exactly, but it was something like that. It was pretty close.
Oh
What's
man, I
up,
gotta take it
Artist is in the
serious, man.
building.
Sorry, man.
Negras
Oh shit.
Tormentas. And I see Soul Construct. Good to see you up in
What's
here.
going on, guys?
So we got a couple of jokes, and I'm pretty sure more jokes will keep coming later on. It is a late night stream, so it'll probably be a little different. But I noticed, what was his name? What was his name? Was it Peyton Gendry? Um, the Buffalo shooter, the one that did the shooting at the Tops Market. Apparently, the Biden administration is seeking death penalty charges, and his lawyers, I guess, were kind of upset about this. I guess they agree that if he would plead guilty, that he would, I guess, be getting life instead. But it looks like he will be getting, they will be trying him for the death penalty. Meteor says, did you guys see the trans influencer who got beat up by her 19-year-old boyfriend, Paola Soros? Why does that sound familiar? Well, at least the name Paola Soros. So artist. Not sure. Are you familiar with this story, Chris?
No, who beat up a 19-year-old? No, I didn't see that. But
I'm wondering, is this
I,
the same one that I saw? I think the guy was saying that he's not, that he wasn't gay. Oh, Suarez. Is this the one where the guy was saying that he's not gay for a day? No, this is somebody different. Yeah, I don't know anything about that story, but yeah, send us some info and we'll look into it. Sounds kind of par for 2024.
yeah, no, I didn't see that. I'm still laughing at the other thing. You know, that story is kind of crazy too. So, you know, I want to look that up before I comment on that. You know, that's something you got
Yeah,
to be
I mean,
careful about. That's something you got to be careful about. You know, 2024. That's something that 2023 and the other years taught you. You know, here's another lesson that I think is quick. Here's another lesson that people are about to learn real fast. You're going. Everyone is not everyone, but a lot of people are
appreciate
going
you.
to be tagged. A lot of people are going to be tagged as anti-Semitic. Be careful what you're saying online. You know, that particular group is watching everything. People are being suspended online. People are losing jobs. Be careful what you say and how you say it online. I mean, you know me. I don't want nothing bad to happen. But
Honestly,
I'm just saying, you gotta remember.
I would kind of disagree a little. I think that
Okay.
because it's been thrown around so much recently, and it's being thrown around so much, more it's losing a lot of the sting it used to have because more people are like, okay, you're calling everything anti-Semitic. Everything is blood libel. Everything is, and I don't even know what the blood libel thing even means, but everything is being. It's kind of like it's starting to be like there. And I said this to somebody also the other day. I said it's getting to the point where the Zionists, and I'm not talking about just Jewish Zionists, I'm talking about Zionists in general, are making it unsafe for the people they say that they're fighting for, the Jewish community, because they're making everything that any person who's Jewish that does good or bad, if you criticize anything, it's anti-Semitic now. And I'm watching other channels that wouldn't dare go into this realm and talk about some of this stuff that we've been talking about for quite a bit of time. They're starting to feel comfortable with just saying shit that only a handful of people out there would say. And as far as on YouTube, there's not very many people who were saying some of the stuff that we say. So it's interesting.
So to that, I would say I understand that part. The use of the word, and how it's overused and how it doesn't always apply when tagged, right? I get that part. Um, I'm talking about on even like a much lower level, right? Remember,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of people are employed, right? A lot of people are employed by people that are they're very successful at business. They run a lot of business. Their network is tight. They communicate even if they're not best of friends, right? They keep their ear to the ground in their world. So all that's the only reason why I say that, because in some cases your income can be affected. That's why when people say something like, who was it? DJ Vlad is like, yo, why DJ Khaled ain't say nothing? He's Palestinian. And I'm like, it's DJ Khaled. That's why he didn't say anything, right?
Well, it's
His
also,
stage, he
I
lives
would
his
say it's
stage.
also, I would say it's also that DJ Vlad, because of what he's probably more used to in his circles and his community and his family group, how they handle things. A lot of people just assume because of the way that they handle something or people in their group handle something, that's how everybody handles stuff, and that's not always the case. I mean, it's definitely not always the case, and it also makes a difference in um different levels. DJ Khaled in the record business, I don't think he could get away, honestly, with saying too much right now.
And
And he's made the
that's my
choice
point.
that he cares more about
Mhm.
his business than risking saying anything that can get him, in hot water in the record industry. And I wanted to respond to what Soul said there. Said Muslims are Semitic people. That's one of my biggest issues with the whole term anti-Semitic in general, because it's an improper term. And when people
It's
use the
being
term
used
anti-Semitic, yeah,
improperly.
they're using the term for Jewish people while ignoring all the other Semitic groups of people, which it's almost like saying, well, we're the only Semitic people that matter. And I don't even think people get it when even if they're calling out, oh, this person's being anti-Semitic to me. When you use the term improperly, or you'll say it's anti-Semitic what they're doing to you, but if somebody is criticizing some other Semitic people, you don't care and you don't call that anti-Semitism. That's showing clearly right there that you are saying one group of Semitic people are more important than another group of Semitic people, or because they're not even being classified the same. You're classifying one over the other. And that also reminds me of like a story that I was reading about biasness and that a couple of people sent me. But sorry, I don't want to go on too much of a rant, Chris. Your thoughts?
Um, again, Khaled, his going, starting from that part, right? Somebody like him, his income depends on him staying silent, given the industry that he works in. He has a lot of deals. He knows where he's been in this industry for several years. He knows where loyalties lie. He knows what buttons to push, what buttons not to push. I get it. Everybody wants that heroic person who's like, F that, da 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 da. But just because we see a net worth doesn't even mean that that is actually correct. So when we even think that these people have a lot of money, not all the time do they have a lot of money. A lot of things are given to them. They rent a lot of things. We don't know their spending habits. We don't know their credit background. All that. I'm just saying these are, we on its face it looks like they some of these people have a lot of money, but we don't really know what they have or who
Well,
they're
well,
indebted to.
Chris,
Right?
if I could,
You might be
could I?
because you might be in debt. You might be in debt to certain people, and you can be in debt, and it don't have to be to a bank, right?
If I can say something real quick that I can just say, and this will kind of help bridge what you're saying and kind of clear up some things where somebody could probably even try to twist your words. I would say that the fact that many Jewish people use the term oh, if you're saying that Jews have power, then that's anti-Semitic. Um, Reality is reality, and just because you want to
It's very
spin
practical.
things, that doesn't fly. If uh you have a lot of different money, as far as, like, for instance, Chris is talking about the record industry. It is no secret that within the record industry, a lot of executives and owners of these companies are Jewish. In fact, majority are. So to say that they have power in an industry which many of them own, it's like me owning the business. If you're complaining about me, I own the business. I have the power in this business. And if you own a business, you have power in it. Let's not play this game of, why are you acting like I'm the. No, you own that business. You have the power. So don't act like you don't have power. Don't act like it's a slur to say you have the power when you own the fucking company. It's the same thing in the movie industry and in a lot of Hollywood. Literally, Jewish people will come out and say, yes, there's a movie talking about how the Jews own Hollywood, and then you're going to turn around and say it's anti-Semitic to say what's obviously proven when you go through these different companies and see that a lot of the founding people are Jewish, a lot of the CEOs, a lot of the people. It's on paper. It's a fact. So we're not calling out a fact is anti-Semitic. It's like saying, is the NBA mostly full of black people? Yes, it is. Most of the players in the NBA are black. That's a fact. That's not being racist. So some of this stuff of calling everything anti-Semitic, that just because you don't like it, it doesn't mean that somebody's so-called anti-Semitic, in which, like I said, I hate the term anyway. Now, if you go into a thing of saying that every single Jewish person is against you, and every single Jewish person is this, and every single one, that is where you start getting into some of those lanes of getting into criticism. But we need to, in 2024, be able to establish truth. I mean, if somebody owns something, then they obviously have power. And that's not anti anything to admit a reality.
Yeah, but the larger point I just wanted to make is, when sometimes you would want people to say things, etc. Just understand sometimes too why you won't hear certain things. It's a tall task to ask someone to forego their income for a particular amount of time, right? We don't know what people's situation is. And at this point, I'm off like a Khaled. I'm just talking about regular, middle class, working class people, So that's the only reason why I'm just urging a little bit of caution. I know right now the shit we're seeing makes you want to say certain things, but it also, just be mindful of that, because the other side of that are people trying to find you and trying to ruin you in any and every which way they can. That's all I'm saying. And most likely the best way to do that is to try to find. I'm saying the best way to go about that is to try to find your employer and contact your employer and have you on the outs, right? We've seen that. We're seeing that. This Ackman guy on Twitter is acting like he owns. I mean, talk about the audacity of somebody. I've been watching this dude. He's the way that, I'm just saying, just watch the behavior and mind yourselves. That's all. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that we'll have more time to kind of elaborate more on this in some of the different stories that we have going on that we're going to talk about. Like I say,
speaking of which, Marcus, too. I know it's you didn't have this one, but I wanted to bring it up. I don't know if you heard
of whatever story you got, go for it.
The Fannie Willis. I don't know if the audience is familiar with Fannie Willis, the Georgia. What is she? The DA, state prosecutor in Georgia. she's the one she's prosecuting the Young Thug trial and the Donald Trump trial in Georgia, whatever his charges are. I don't even know. There's so many of them, right? But who cares? Anyway, well, come to find out, in the Trump case, the special prosecutor who was hired to try this case really don't have any experience with anything on this level. And come to find out, she's sleeping with the dude. That's her little boo thing. And
interesting.
Since he's taken on the, since he became special prosecutor, I think his firm has made over like $600,000 and some change, right? Obviously, this is all approved by none other than his girlfriend, his side piece, because I believe, homeboy's married. How do we know all of this? Well, one of the defendants in the Trump case, I wish I had names for you guys, but you can look up what I'm saying too. One of the defendants in the Trump case filed a motion in the guy Wade, who is a special prosecutor, filed a motion in his divorce case to get the fucking documents unsealed, and then that's how they know Shorty is involved with homeboy. So all I'm saying is, if you want corruption, nepotism, issues of not necessarily nepotism, but sex scandal, the Democratic Party has it in spades too, just like the Republicans do. Just because they put a black woman in your face and try to tell you that she's the most holiest because she holds a position within the Democratic Party ecosystem, does not mean that she's going to be, not down for the bullshit too. So again, her little side piece made himself $600,000 for not knowing how to prosecute a case. Damn, Marcus, we really should have went into politics, right? Imagine getting deals like that.
I mean, well, I told you that I passed up a deal to switch over to the Republican Party and be almost assured a state Senate seat if I moved to New York and became a Republican. So I passed that up. Mm-hmm.
There we go. There's the headline. You see that, Marcus?
Yeah, I see it. Says in a filing seeking to dismiss the charges, Michael Roman's attorney accused Willis and special prosecutor Nathan Wade of having a romantic relationship. Hola, Iris. Good to see you.
And this is Miss Fannie Willis. And so they say she'd be outside in Atlanta too.
Oh well, but Atlanta's one of those places where all the different all the professionals, it's not hard to run into people because there's a certain area where a lot of the like black PMC, kind of hang out and places where they shop, and so in restaurants and stuff like that, it's all up and down Peachtree. It's not hard to run into some of these people or even a lot of the celebrities in Atlanta. So it doesn't surprise me to hear something like this. I would just say always, if you're somebody who are in these high profile type positions and you're trying to do all this different stuff, especially when it's politically motivated, be very, very careful, because the old saying, don't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And right now in politics, I see a lot of people throwing stones with no regards to the glass house that they live in. Hey, Yonina.
Correct. Yonina, what's up? Marcus also too. So it sounds like a crazy story, right? It sounds like, oh, you're alleging that Fannie is sleeping with the guy and da-da-da-da-da. The part I highlighted here, though, I think is telling, right? Because you're this Oh, okay.
No, you could. No, you could. Go ahead.
Good. Yeah. In response to all this wild shit being alleged, the response from the DA's office is to a response will be made in a court filing. That tells you there's no lie, because if you at least some of this got to be true, because if it wasn't, you would at the very least deny some of it. No, I don't have an improper relationship with this person. But you can't go on TV and say that. Well, I guess you can, Bill Clinton, right? I didn't sleep with that woman. So I guess she could, but I guess she's choosing to be a little bit smart about it and not address it. But this is not a good look, though. Again, this looks like that if you were really what this, to me, how I see it, the larger picture with this story is, to me, is that the Democratic Party doesn't really care about like doing anything to Trump seriously. They didn't pick a serious attorney to prosecute this case. They allowed someone, and come on, they keep tabs on everybody. So you allowed Fannie Willis to hire the dude she was messing with to prosecute this case when he's not qualified to do so, and to pay him $600,000, and for this to come out in a messy ass divorce. At the end of the day, this is going to help Trump, because homeboy will most likely be removed from the case once all this gets to higher levels. You understand? This is not a good look at all. And then in related to the Trump case, you're the prosecutor there too. What kind of foolishness, funny money shit were you guys engaging over here in this, right? So it's nasty. I wonder if it'll help. I wonder what this will do for the Young Thug case. But they was busy playing Lifestyle in the courtroom the other day. I don't know if y'all saw that. Side note. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even familiar with the Young Thug case, so I mean, I'm not even sure what he's charged with. But I said from the
he got.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying he got hit with the RICO.
No,
Young Thug got hit with the RICO. Him and the whole YSL, his gang, they got hit with the RICO several months ago, or maybe even over a year ago at this point. But they was playing his music in the courtroom. That shit was kind of lit, though. I can't even lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
but you're outside.
I've always
that's where you end up.
I've always kind of maintained that none of this political stuff that they were doing against Trump was going to stand up. And Trump will be the candidate. He will be the nominee. At worst, even if they do convict him of anything, it's going to be a fine at most. That's all I see, a way to try to milk some money off of him. And the reason why is the stuff that they're going to go after and the stuff that they're going after. It's stuff that people in DC think is something, but it's not going to go anywhere. And also, they're kind of hoping that it can just kind of burn through his money and just make it and tie him up. That's kind of more or less what it is. I don't think that they really believed any of it's going to actually stop him or convict him, because if it does, now you open up the precedent that now we're going to start going after former presidents. And if you do that, you're playing a dangerous game, because it's kind of like an NFL play. On every single play, there is a penalty that can be called. If you really just go back and look, somebody's holding over here, illegal shift here, a man down the line, there's something. And it's the same thing with politics. All of these people are doing something that is illegal in some kind of way, and therefore all can be caught up. The only reason why they don't really go for the hardcore stuff that they know each other are doing is because they know turnabout is fair play. The moment that you start going after them on the hard stuff, then they're going to go after you on the hard stuff. And it's kind of like the same thing with a lot of these people who are on the elite white collar kind of positions. it's kind of an agreed upon situation that some things we don't go after each other on. And almost like they say, like a gentleman's bet. It's certain things that, okay, we're not going to touch that. But, you know, we don't like them, so we'll go after them on this. Because there was so much stuff that, like, for instance, the insider trading stuff, which a lot of these Congress people were doing. That's the reason why it'll be a small fine if you get caught. There's no, okay, you're going to have to pay back this amount. You lose committee positions. None of that stuff happens because they're all doing it. That's the reason why somebody like Mitch McConnell goes into office worth like 18,000 and is up to hundreds of millions. That's the same thing with many of these politicians. This is how they make their money. This is how they make their money.
Also,
they're not going to go after each other.
His wife brought a lot of bread to him too.
But you can go through the same situation with, say, a Pelosi. Pelosi's family had some money, but not the kind of money they got now. It's the same thing with a Feinstein. The same thing with Chuck Schumer. I mean, and I could go down the list because I remember years back covering, literally going
John
into
Kerry.
how much all of these people had net worth. I mean, he came out of the military, so I mean, you make decent money in the military, but you don't make the kind of money which John Kerry has. And all of that is from book fees and speaking fees, and then money tapped into here. Yes, Peace Dove, we are live. This is how the game works. It's all built on corruption. And like I tell people, when they focus on presidents will never run anything. Look for whoever the chief of staff is. And look for whoever like the secretaries of state are. The secretaries of state, the secretaries of defense, these are the people who are actually running things, making real decisions. Presidents are just figureheads. And also those people who are the unelected people who are running things, they're put into those positions from donors. So these people report directly back to donors. That's the reason why, I don't know, just look at it. Right now, it's Zients is the chief of staff. For Trump, it was Jared Kushner. Before that, for Obama, it was Rahm Emanuel. These are the people who are actually controlling and running things. So yeah, the Lloyd Austin, yeah, it's kind of a funny case. But yeah, when you really look at it, the people who are the presidents aren't running jack shit. That's the reason why it always cracks me up. So many people focus so heavily on presidential elections. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, to that point. Oh, yeah. Marcus, also,
yeah,
you know how we've been chatting a little bit about, you know, these guys on the internet running around saying that, you know, they're Choctaw or, you know, Seminole and all that other shit, right? You know, even Tariq Nasheed even had to put out a video saying, "Nigga, stop it."
This is wild. I think I just found
So when you get a chance, look that up. So I just wanted to throw that out there since I was
reminded. Years to collect and share data.
I'm hearing you playing something in the background.
I thought I was muted, but I guess it was still playing it. I'm sending you over something.
Yeah, no.
Archer sent me something, and I just sent it to you on IG. Going into some of that stock trade stuff. It's a short video, but yeah, it would be something that good to bring up because it's not hard to like actually do the research and dig in, and you can literally find out. Like, I mean, if I want to just do like quick overall, so for people who don't have the time to really look into this, the Democratic Party is mostly funded through the pharmaceutical industry, Wall Street, and what's the last one? Let's see, what was I saying? Wall Street, and the tech sector, Silicon Valley. Oh. That's who fund the Democratic Party, majority. I mean, yes, of course, Thomas. there's some overlap. And then on the Republican side, it is weapons and defense manufacturers, and oil. And then, as Autris brought up, AIPAC funds both. So that's the reason why, if there's a bill in the Senate for anything going to Israel, you'll see 98%. You'll see a 98% vote. I mean, not 98, but 98 to 0, where it'll be some people who might abstain. But that's the reason why you get overwhelming votes. You see votes like 420 to like 10 dissent. That's the reason why, because these people are so heavily funded by AIPAC. And it's the only special interest which has that kind of swag and control. And I don't know. There's so many documentaries y'all can go into and just see politicians, former politicians who were told, even if they were pro-Israel, if you aren't pro-Israel enough, that can be enough for you to lose your seat. I mean, we just saw the thing. People were offering $20 million to try to get Rashida Tlaib out. So, I mean, if that's not evidence enough for what's going on here and who really is pushing a lot of these politicians, that's the reason why you don't see any kind of some of these states. You can't even you can't be part of a BDS. You can't boycott. You can't even boycott Israel in some of these states, and it's because of the power of AIPAC and the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, and the JDL. So, but yeah. Oh, you got the video?
The only thing I do. The only thing it started already, and Instagram, you can't. It's not a reel.
You can't back it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm just waiting for it to start again. That's all.
Here,
there we go.
Well, I guess. Oh, that's right. You're playing it, so I don't have to mute.
Got it. I got it.
Let's see.
To draw enough attention towards this to get answers on why these filings are not available. Follow along for updates or check out Quiver for more data.
All right, so let's try this again.
This is wild. I think I just found evidence that Congress is hiding their new stock trades. As you guys know, I've been writing code for the past few years to collect and share data on what goes on behind the scenes in DC. And one of the pieces of code I wrote downloads a directory of congressional financial disclosures. The filings listed in this directory are supposed to be matched up with the filings that are available in the public disclosure database. However, recently, this has not been the case. I can see that 4 filings have been made in 2024, but none of them are currently publicly available. And what this means is that the public cannot see new stock trades made by members of the House of Representatives. And potentially, this seems to be a massive violation of the rights to information granted to the American people by the Stock Act. So I'm hoping to draw enough attention towards this to get answers on why these filings are not available. Follow along for updates or check out Quiver for more data.
Thanks, Trez. Appreciate that.
Which that's kind of interesting, and I'm not surprised because you've been hearing less and less politicians being caught, and I know they didn't just stop insider trading. Something had to be going on.
There's too much money going around. There's a lot of money flying around, so you can pay off a lot of the the supposed regulators and people who are supposed to stop that. Right? Everybody's got a number at some point. I hate to say it, but it's just a fact. It's just a fact, right?
So it's kind of interesting. He brought up this tech, and that just reminds me of the other story, which I know probably a lot of people in our audience have not focused on this story at all, haven't paid much attention to it because it's a foreign story. Can you pull up the post office story? But this is huge in the UK, and it even spawned a movie. This involved literally hundreds of employees, and this has to do with like a computer glitch that happened. That is, I feel like we should definitely at least cover it, especially because they are working on so many different technologies that that they want to implement on a governmental level. And the possibility of something like this happening is a big damn deal. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of what's going on in the UK, and this is the post office scandal that's going on. So sorry, I'll let it play.
TV drama helped bring an end to the biggest miscarriage of justice in UK history. It's a scandal that wrongly accused more than 700 post office workers of stealing, all because of faulty IT software. But how did this become such an issue, and who are the big names involved? Errors in faulty Fujitsu software called Horizon made it look like money had been disappearing from post office branches. And between 1999 and 2015, hundreds of post office managers were then accused of theft, fraud, and faulty accounting. People went to prison, others had huge payouts to make, and some even took their own lives as a result. Tracy was just 19 at the time that she spent 6 months in what was then the largest women's prison in Western Europe.
There was no way I was pleading guilty to something that I hadn't done.
One of the names you might be hearing a lot is Paula Venables. She ran the post office while hundreds of false accusations were made. A petition for her to lose her CBE honour has been signed by more than 1 million and even supported by the Prime Minister. Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davey is also under pressure. He was the minister responsible for the post office during the coalition government. He says he understands why people are angry. Rishi Sunak said discussions are underway about potentially clearing those involved completely. Those victims are left hoping that greater public awareness and political momentum will help end their search for justice.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a messed up story. I mean, literally, this happened years ago, and it's just getting cleared up. Ruined, what did it say? Over 700 people's lives, all because of a glitch in this software. And yet, some people literally, offing themselves, like literally committing suicide over this.
Yeah,
I mean, destroyed their life.
That don't sound like a glitch in the software. That sounds like it was a glitch in the software, if you understand what I'm saying. Somebody was finding a way to steal some pennies, you know what I mean?
Yeah, somebody stole something and let these people in the post office take the bag.
Yeah.
Fall for it.
Yeah, it was an ongoing operation, and to the extent they got caught, you have your perfect example. You have your perfect excuse. Oh, it's a computer glitch. Ah, gosh, wish we had caught this earlier. But all over the time that this quote unquote glitch is occurring, money is being taken. Again, if you're taking just a little bit every day, that shit adds up.
Chris H says at Political Matrix, Marcus, how did you find this story? I follow a lot of foreign news, and in some of that foreign news, it's been a big topic on LBC. And I heard what's his name? Idris Elba talking about this story. And a handful of other people, and I mean, it's people who are heated over there, who want to see government officials in prison for this. And so this is where I heard about this story. Of course, multiple places were covering this story. And I just want to make sure that we're paying attention to all of these different stories that are going on in a lot of these countries. I mean, it's one that I didn't put in the docket for Chris, and I'll just kind of throw out there loosely what's going on with Taiwan and China right now. The candidate who wants to separate.
China said that's an internal matter, Mr. Cage.
Yeah, but I'm gonna still talk about y'all stuff. I'm gonna let everybody else know we need to be paying attention to what's going on, because this is going, I tell people, and I've always been this way. Foreign policy, and you can ask Chris, as long as he's been knowing me, I've always talked about foreign policy, because when it comes down to it, what happens out of the executive branch is going to be dealing with foreign policy more than anything. I know everybody focuses on, we need to get Medicare for all, and we need $15 minimum wage, and all of these different things like that. All that stuff goes through the Congress. And if Congress doesn't have the will to do it, it's not gonna happen. It doesn't matter how much. Let's for argument's sake, let's say whatever presidential candidate you want it got in there, and they do want these things, and they're actively pushing for it. If the Congress decides that they're not going to do it, it's not going to happen. If let's say it's Pelosi or not, who was it? Hakeem Jeffries. Let's say he becomes Speaker of the House again. If he doesn't want to bring this bill to the floor, it doesn't matter what that president wants. It's going to be irrelevant because it's down to the Speaker of the House. If the Speaker of the House doesn't propose the bill, it doesn't go up for a vote. It doesn't go through reconciliation. It doesn't get passed on to the Senate. None of those things can happen. So therefore, it never gets to a president's desk. So all of this heavy focus on domestic policy doesn't matter if you don't have a Congress that's going to enforce it, and especially when you're dealing with House members who are literally always in campaign mode and looking for their next campaign dollar. And so, since most of them are so bought and paid by this system and depend on campaign money, or have to do certain things so that people won't be propped up to run against them, the level of control, like if you go back to Kashama Sawant, what was it? Jeff Bezos dropped $1 million in a city council race. So keep that in mind. These billionaires are not only looking at the House and Senate, they're hyper focused all the way into your city council races, down to your aldermen's, down to your parish, level. They're focusing on all that. They're focusing on mayors, governors, city council. They're focusing on if you got like water keepers. They're focused on the tax collector's office. They're even focused on who your damn sheriff is. That's how micro-focused they are into paying attention to all this. And if you don't have people on those levels that can even try to implement these things, then none of domestic stuff even matters, because it all falls back. It falls down to donors. Oh, go ahead.
Speaking of politics, I mean, that was good shit. What you just said. Sorry to just take it to the dumb.
No,
shit,
no, you good.
Funny shit.
You good.
You see, we got beef on the.
You good.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw. We got beef. Videos playing. I don't think he realizes that it's I don't think he realizes his.
I hear something playing.
Oh yeah, that's you.
I don't have anything playing.
One of your tabs. Oh shit, that was random.
That's you. I don't have no tabs playing.
Unless there's another device hooked up to my Bluetooth. But anyway, sorry about that. I was saying, I don't know if you heard that there's beef in the GOP now between Vivek and Trump. I don't know what Vivek did, but Trump came out and dissed him. So, it's just like rap. We got beef. Just like rap, it's fake beef a lot of the time. So, this is that'll be something to watch. At least the back and forth will be entertaining. Not that it'll mean anything. Not that it'll produce anything of value. Purely, it'll just be for the entertainment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly watch politics for the entertainment aspect. Like, Nikki Haley been thinking she's been hot shit and just been running around and talking all crazy, and Trump comes right in with a couple of sentences and deflates her whole shit. It was like, basically, yeah, it's easy to talk about slavery, and the other 3 paragraphs of bullshit she said. I mean, none of these people stand a chance once they're on the stage with Trump. And so we already know he's going to be the candidate for the Republican side, no matter what they claim to care or want. And thank you, by the way, Jordan. But yeah,
Marcus, somebody mentioned Michelle, like
Michelle who?
The thing,
Michelle who?
Talking
about Obama?
The former president. Yeah.
Why?
I know. Here's the thing. they don't have the juice like that. This is not '07, right? It's not '06 when people aren't like that emotionally. The amount of people who were emotionally attached and worked up in '07 and '08 are not worked up in 2024 over Michelle. So if they did put her out there, she would get crushed, and then it would be everybody's a sexist and a racist, whatever. But yeah, she would get crushed. That's just my political analysis on that.
Well, what it is right now they see how unpopular Biden is. They see how unpopular Biden is, so they're trying to figure out something because they know this motherfucker gonna lose.
Yeah,
He is.
I had a woman tell me recently. She's like, "Oh, I wish they would just run Gavin Newsom. The guy's so handsome."
He'll get mud stomped. Also, it don't.
Correct. These are the things that this is how like serious it is to them, right? Like, oh, this guy's attractive to me, so I think this is why I want him to be.
All right. Since you brought these names up, I'm gonna do. Let's see. You know how rappers they'll do. Let me go do 15 bars or 16 bars real quick. You know what? I'm gonna do 1 minute straight of just destroying every possible candidate that the Democratic Party has. I'm gonna wait till it hits. I'm gonna wait till it hits right at the top of that minute, and I'm gonna just go through each person. I don't even really need to spread that many words on them because most of them are that ass. But let's see. So he said Big Mike. Who the hell's Big Mike? You mean Killer Mike? I don't know.
No,
but
you know how they be calling. You know how they call Michelle.
Oh yeah. But okay, top of the hour. Let's start off with Michelle. Michelle, for one, has no political background and experience. Also, she is a talking mannequin, just like Obama, and people are done with both of the Obamas at this point. Next, Pete, Mr. Robot Man. Nobody gives two shits about him. He's not even good at the transportation job he's doing, and everybody knows that he is just nothing but a puppet for big donors. Kamala has no fucking personality and basically has, let's just say, she did the casting couch way of working her way to the top. So she's not somebody to be taken serious. Gavin Newsom is an obvious puppet and only does well within liberal circles. So that's not going to go anywhere. Anybody else you got on the bench? Who? What you got? All the damn screw ups that tried to run last time. And you have Bernie Sanders, which Bernie Sanders has burned any possible credibility that he has. What do you have next? Elizabeth Warren, last time she burned all her credibility. So boom, the Democratic side, I already just went through all of them. There's nobody that they have left. I mean, and then if you want to go on the Republican side, I'll do that real quick.
You forgot your boy. You just forgot the last one. Just send some shots that way too.
Who?
RFK.
What? RFK ain't no damn Democrat, so I didn't count him.
Oh, RFK, okay, yeah, that's true.
RFK is literally going nowhere and just trying to sell books. He ain't even on all the ballots, so that's not going to get him anywhere. That's part of the problem. The way the system is set up, if you are not a Republican or a Democrat, you have 10,000 times a harder time to get elected. And I know a lot of people say, go independent. Independent is not getting you nowhere. The best that you can do is become a spoiler candidate for one or the other side, but it's not going to get you anywhere because they are not going to allow you to get more than 10%. After Ross Perot, they said, no, we ain't letting this shit happen again. And if you guys don't think they got more cheats up their sleeve to stop you, you guys are not fucking paying attention if you think RFK has a chance. Also, the fact of RFK, tell me which county that RFK is going to win even a state. He's not going to win any of the major cities, so that's kind of a wash. And just like Peace Dove says, RFK Zionist Israeli puppet. He can't win the left. He can't win the right because they look at you as the right, their mentality is either we don't want a somebody who's a fake Democrat who's going to act like a Republican. They'll just go get a Republican. So you're basically left holding your chicken nuggets out on the side. Nobody cares about you, RFK, and you're Smooly's puppets. So any of the RFK stands, get your head out of your ass and wake up. The dude is a waste of fucking time. And all he's done is hopped onto the whole COVID narrative that a lot of the people who were in the so-called truther community that they were talking about. All he's done is hop onto it. It's the same thing with Kanye talking about black people are the real Native Americans now. Any narrative that he's hearing out in the streets, he's throwing it into his rhetoric, the same as RFK. Vivek is nothing but a snake who's trying to build his profile. And a lot of these other people, all they're doing is they're going off of the reasoning why Trump ran in the first place. Trump didn't run because he really wanted to be president. Trump ran because he thought that would help him with his negotiations with NBC as far as getting a better contract. He heard Gwen Stefani made more money than him and got pissed off and decided that he was going to run to try to boost his profile. But then when it started taking off, he's like, well, fuck, I guess I'll do this. Because enough dumbasses didn't realize that he wasn't a fucking serious candidate. Sorry. Hopefully that summed up most of the jackasses out there. And then Nikki Haley is trying her best. Nikki Haley and DeSantis are basically the same fucking person. The only thing is Nikki Haley is more charismatic than DeSantis. DeSantis is a fucking moron. Then who else you got? Christie's just dropped out. Tim Scott was trying his best to be the black puppet that'll just parrot out whatever the Republicans were saying. So most of the rhinos are about out of it, except for Haley, which her time is about done. West, you want to know Dr. West? Iris brought up Dr. West. I forgot I did leave him out, and I left out because that's right, he's an independent. He's not a Democrat. Cornel West is going no fucking where. If he had a chance, if he would have stayed with the Green Party, he would at least had a chance, even though the Green Party is not a serious party. None of these third parties are serious parties, period. Anybody who's actually did any time working with a campaign or volunteering for campaigns understand how much actual work is involved to even get delegates in any of the precincts if it's a state which divides them up. A lot of these states are winner take all. So if you're not going to win the whole state, you don't have a chance of winning it. Dr. Shiva and Jank are going to be tied up with lawsuits on just trying to get their claim on actually being legal to even run. So they're going to be so tied up with all that, they're never going to even get to the ballot process of trying to get themselves on all 50 states. So neither one of those two are getting anywhere. They're going in the same direction. And honestly, I would honestly say that Jank is only hopping out there so that he can overshadow Dr. Shiva. Jill Stein is the biggest joke of all. Her time has come and long fucking gone. She's like the left-wing Hillary Clinton. Your time is already gone. Time for you to go hang it up, go sit on the bench. But Cornel also, Cornel, like I said before, Cornel West, RFK, Marianne Williams, Jill Stein, all of them are just filling the void of all the Bernie Sanders voters who are left over. That's their only purpose, to tie you guys up and keep you busy, keep you emotionally invested. So when the elections come out, they're going to try to scare the shit out of you and say, Trump is so evil, you got to vote for Biden. That's all they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, Dr. Shiva has no chance either. So
zero. But I mean, it's fun to entertain him.
Yeah,
it's fun to entertain him.
But he doesn't have a chance.
I mean, but if you're Marianne Williams looks awful, is awful, and is just horrible. Is a horrible candidate. Also, she's too fucking thin-skinned. Way too fucking thin-skinned to be a politician. She gets in her feelings way too fast and cops an attitude with anybody who will ask her even a slightly tough question.
And
it ain't because she's just a woman. It ain't It ain't trying to bash her or because she's a woman. It's just because you're too fucking thin-skinned. Yes, pretty much all of them are running for president of Israel.
You know, I can't. Yeah, that lady, what's her name, Williamson. Yeah, I can't even entertain her. That's, you know, she's an author on a book tour, fronting like she's running for president, right?
Damn near all of them
Okay.
are.
Yeah,
damn near all of them are boosting their profile so they can sell books later. Watch and see. Mark my words, you're going to see about 10 people who just ran for president release a book. And actually, some of them might wait till after 2024 to 2025 if we make it there.
Oh, did you see the JP Morgan prediction?
Mm-mm.
I don't know if anyone in the chat is familiar, but you know, one of some analysts at JP Morgan put out some kind of statement, or I can't remember exactly what they put out, but basically they're saying like between what would be Super Tuesday and the election, at some point Biden is dropping out. Well, not dropping out, he'll be replaced.
No, he'll
be replaced.
Biden is still their strongest chance to win, sadly enough. That's how pathetic they are at this point. And like I've said before, I think it's a strong possibility. Now, I'm not sure if I said it was going to be 4 years, or did I say that he was going to run for re-election? I can't remember. I have to go back. Somebody can correct me. But I think that I said he was going to win election.
I didn't think he was going to last this long. Pause.
Well, I think I said that he's going to try to struggle it out. He's going to win re-election and then hand it over to Kamala. I still think that his goal is to hand it over to Kamala, and you're going to be looking at a Kamala and Gavin Newsom presidency. And I'm not sure which direction it's going to be, who's going to be at the top of the ticket or not, but that's what I see the Democrats' ultimate goal is, because at least Gavin Newsom can handle his stuff on the debate stage and know how to BS and looks, you know, he gets the 50, 60 something year old white liberal women all, you know, remember the homosexuals? That's what he does for them.
Yeah, correct. That's what he does for them. He looks good to them as they sit on their couch and watch, you know, the networks. He's aesthetically pleasing to that particular group of Americans who will participate in the elections. And that's essentially what we have. It is a shallow thing, but look, Donald Trump is on the other side. It doesn't get, I don't even think we could use the word deep, but you know, that's what that is. Marcus, to get into some of our other topics.
That's right. I wanted to finish what I was saying about throw this out there about the China thing. The candidate who was trying to run for Taiwan to be separate from China got elected, and China has said that that after their vote they plan on a unification of China and Taiwan, what they've been talking about for years. But in a change that I saw from the Biden administration is they say that we're not really gonna weigh in on this. We just kind of leave that alone. So that's been a change, whereas they've all kind of said that they will support whatever Taiwan is trying to do, even though they say that, we still believe in the one state, one China policy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember. I know it's something else that I wanted to throw out there that I can't remember, but we can move on, and it'll come back to me if I need to talk about it.
Yeah, getting into, before we jump into the
wait a minute.
Case.
Let me double check. I think I have one more thing that I wanted to bring up. Hold on, just give me a sec. Yeah, I guess that's mainly it. I mean, did we? Were you gonna start the ICJ?
No, I was gonna say before we go into that, I did want to mention that
Mhm.
we don't have it in the headline, but since we were talking about politics, foreign shit, the United States and England, both decided to bomb Yemen yesterday, and probably still today.
Hold on. When you said UK, you reminded me of something. I just want to throw this out there, and then I'll give it back to you. The Russia-Ukraine thing is not about to wind down anytime soon. It's going to string along a little bit longer because Richie Sunak just boosted the amount of funding to Ukraine. So while the U.S. is tailoring back, they're going to get more money from the U.K. to continue fighting to the last Ukrainian. But yeah, back to that about the Houthis, because I did want to talk. We did have that in there about the inflation, that how that's going to tie to inflation.
Oh, got you. But as I was saying, they started bombing Yemen. They started bombing sites. I mean, as of right now, it doesn't seem as if they went on some wild campaign and were bombing civilian areas. I think Yemen publicly said 5 people were killed in the bombing.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've read other reports about this particular topic, Yemen is used to having fighter jets drop bombs all over their country. They were dealing with that for years with the Saudis bombing the shit out of them. Obviously, the Saudis were getting their weaponry from the United States, so this is not anything that the people of Yemen are unfamiliar with. They obviously have taken measures to hide their equipment and everything they need, because even after the bombing, they're still in the high seas causing havoc for the Zionists. And all the bombing actually helped do was to close all of the shit in the Suez Canal. So now that shit is really shut down.
Yeah, I mean, I do. The thing about it is the Houthis are not going to stop. This is not going to stop anytime soon. This is not stopping no time soon. Emma Car, I didn't know you had a wrench. I don't know. We'll look at that and possibly get you a wrench back. But Iris was saying, did you hear about Gonzalo Lira? No, I didn't. Please put in the chat anything that's happened with Gonzalo. That's interesting. But this is going to, if you look at what's been going on with the Houthis, and you look at what's going on with Syria, you look at what's going on with Lebanon, in every angle I see that Israel is trying to expand this war. And that's just my opinion on it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't share that opinion on my own. Oh, damn, he died. That's sad. That is messed up.
Yeah, Gonzalo Lira. Yeah, he passed away. He was sick. I think he had pneumonia.
Oh well, that's sad. For his family. Hate to hear stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I trust DD geopolitics. I mean, that is a I do tend to find a lot of his information credible. So I mean, more than likely it is true. Yeah, R.I.P. Gonzalo. But this helps dovetail into, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably come back around to it. But South Africa's case against Israel that they brought against the that they brought to the ICJ. Yes, he died in custody. I didn't know he was in custody. Yeah. If anybody has that story, please send it to me, because I'm out of the loop on what's been going on with Gonzalo Lira.
Yeah, he was in custody and he passed away. He was sick. They weren't treating him well. Probably torturing him too.
In custody to the Ukrainians?
I believe so, yes.
then I would not trust that he was just sick. I think there's more to it if he was in custody to the Ukrainians, because the Ukrainians, he was literally on the Ukrainians' kill list. So for him to be in their custody on the kill list, pneumonia thorax, like you get from being punched in the chest repeatedly. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, okay. Iris says Ukrainian detention center.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that they killed this man, and they are pretending as if, oh, well, he just had pneumonia. We don't know what happened to him. Yeah, you beat this
His
guy to death.
father.
That's really what
I think
happened.
his father confirmed. I think his father confirmed him being sick too. But it's unfortunate. But we already know we know how these people get down. If you are out there sharing certain bits of information you're not supposed to be sharing, they're gonna come for you. That's the it's the other side of that coin, right? You're trying to do good, somebody's trying to do the opposite. Back to South Africa and Israel. South Africa really made a strong case, and it wasn't a difficult case. They made a very strong case, it's not hard for them to prove this case. If we replace the word Israel with Iran, with Iraq, with North Korea, with Venezuela, with China, there would be no debate. There would be no crazy shit being said. So it's very easy to prove this. Thankfully, we have technology that allows us to actually see what's going on, to hear what's going on. Just think about how scary, think about how scary it would be, the propaganda, what it would look like without the internet right now. Woo! That we would be seeing images all over. And the one thing I do want to mention about this particular trial is this. You notice it's getting no coverage on any of the American news channels, right? You can't
none.
you can't go to Fox and follow this. You can't go to MSNBC, CNBC. You can't go to CNN. You will not find it on your local news. No, nothing. And why is that? Obviously, we know why. The audience knows why, so we don't even need to get into it. But again, that is something that you should also take note of and mention it to somebody who's not really like a political, who's not really into it. Just say, hey, you heard about the case, South Africa brought in an international court of justice. Just see if they know anything about that. Mention it. If they watch American news, chances are they ain't gonna know.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. I mean, and one thing I want to say and throw out for those who haven't been following it at all, this it doesn't mean like this is going to be wrapped up anytime soon. This is just like the opening salvos, basically. And it's just like court when you go in and you have your opening statement. This was an opening statement from what you would say the prosecution, and Israel did their opening statement as far as the defense, and there's going to be more that's going to go on with this, and a lot of deliberations, emotions, and let's say, for instance, that let's say they do say Israel is guilty of genocide, in whole or in part. If they do say that they are, worst case scenario is they're going to put a cease and desist for this so-called war, and it will just be, you guys need to stop. Now, can the ICJ actually enforce anything physically? No. Because, like, for instance, they passed a ruling against Russia saying that they ruled Russia invasion into Ukraine as illegal. Russia continued on. Also, they put a judgment against China as far as dealing with the the Uyghur Muslims. That does not mean that they have the authority to actually push anything or guarantee anything that they do. All it is basically a strong suggestion. Now, what it could do is it could make Israel kind of a social pariah, like it did to South Africa in the 90s, where many countries will decide not to trade. They decided not to trade with South Africa, and it's the same thing they could do that with Israel, where countries will just kind of they won't allow them to the Olympics, and they won't trade with them, accept their goods, and that would actually be very tough on Israel, because Israel is a startup nation, but many of their companies are startup companies, and if they weren't able to trade, especially in a lot of the tech that that a lot of people use that comes out of Israel, it would actually hurt that economy very badly, more than it's being hurt already with this ongoing so-called war. I felt like they did a very, very solid job, and I feel like they proved their case already in just this opening round. But there's a lot more that they got that they haven't showed their hand completely on, and the verdict on this will not come out for at least probably earliest like 4 years from now.
You know, the part that it's expected, but it's one of those things that it's like, okay, I expect you to act a certain way and you act that way. I'm still a little bit surprised because, you know, I was expecting it. I thought maybe you would have been a little bit smarter, right? So I say all that to say within the case, Israel's defense is just laughable. It's almost as if they think that the people they're talking to don't have access to the internet, are blind and cannot see the videos, are deaf, cannot hear the screams. You understand? Or know no one who's telling them about it. It's amazing. You know, the hospital, the beheadings, all of it, every major thing that we heard that they alleged early on, they can't prove it in court. Not at all. It's disgusting that you would go there and blatantly lie. But then this is when I say, you know, this whole proceeding is some bullshit though at the end of the day, because you telling me those people sitting there who is supposed to render some type of verdict on these people, you telling me that they have to take a few days or weeks to deliberate this when they can easily just pick up their fucking phones just as quick as they'll check their Facebook status. They can look to see what's actually going on the ground there, right? You can look to see in real time what's happening. This is not something where you need to get word from Constantinople and you in Mongolia or some shit like that. You understand?
Yeah, but this is the
century.
way. But this is the way this process has been done, and if they did do that, it would look as if that they are playing by different rules against Israel, which would lean into Israel's claim that everybody just does it against them because they're Jews. So they have to still follow the procedures which they have set in place.
But at the end of the day, though, if we're talking about a genocide, and you're asking me to prove a genocide, and I'm saying like, look, here's the phone, here's a computer, here's a tablet. Yo, let me hook this up to the internet. I can show you right now. Fuck what I'm talking about. You understand? I can show you. So that's what I mean. These are people's lives at stake, right? These are a lot of children specifically being just erased from existence. And it's like, well, we have to let them finish their defense. I mean, it's the process, but the process itself is not going to lend itself to saving lives. Because look, let's just say even Israel internally says amongst themselves, yo, man, we getting beat up in this trial. What we gonna do, yo? Yo, in case they make us stop, yo, hit that button. We just gonna bomb harder for the next until they render a verdict. So this could actually also, you know, escalate things militarily as a result of this. And it wouldn't be,
Oh, it
and this would
will.
just
I mean,
be an excuse.
it's not going
And
to
it'll
change
just be an
anything.
excuse for what they want to do.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's not going to change anything. Because I've heard that sometimes these things can take up to 5 years. When it's genocide, because they make under the 1948 like bylaws that they have in there, it's so hard to even formulate this case, and they make you go through so many hoops to actually like say it. Like if you go back to the case of Bosnia that was going on, that literally took years for them to decide, okay, Milosevic is a war criminal. He did commit mass murder and he was trying to commit a genocide. And it took years before that. And that's the reason why, even if they say they're guilty, Israel's guilty on all accounts, the Gazans can't go, I say at max, the Gazans could go maybe another what, 6 months, because it's not necessarily even only the bombing. For one, there's what, 85% of Gaza is like completely like uninhabitable, and there's not much that I mean, where could they even go, the people who aren't dead? And then you have the situation of there's no proper sewage. There's nothing that's getting rid of like the disease that's being spread throughout. So you're going to have more people who are going to die of disease and starvation coming soon than before that judgment can be rendered. And it's kind of be one of those things where
Marcus,
it's gonna slowly let everything happen, and then after the fact they're gonna be like, well, see, we were trying to get them.
Scorpio, you make a good point. Israel is not even denying it. They're like, well, we got attacked, so what you expect? This is what we're gonna do, right? Don't be mad at us because you're an ant and we're using a sledgehammer. This is, you bit us, so this is our response is justified. But again, this goes into the fact that we know the people who supposedly couldn't shoot rockets into a field, they didn't all of a sudden become Bruce Wayne and build all these hang gliders and have this attack where they're doing all of these things all at once. And to refute any of what South Africa is saying, show the video of now where the women were being raped, since you have it, right? You're claiming this.
No, they don't have video. They don't. There's no video.
But they're saying, we know there's no video because that particular they would have shown it, right? That would have been something they would have already,
Max Blumenthal is pretty much like destroyed that whole New York Times article in that.
Oh, yeah.
And even one of the families in there who was saying, we didn't know nothing about no rape. We didn't say nothing about that. The New York Times kind of like, pushed this narrative. And I mean, and that goes to like a big thing that's been going on. I don't know how many people have been paying attention to a lot of these different like WEON and Al Jazeera, and the only one that I can find where I'm really getting like solid information is what is it? The 937 what is it? 937 electronic intifada. They're the only ones where I'm actually like getting active stuff. And I've even noticed from Al Jazeera itself, the amount of stuff that was covered 2 months ago compared to now, they got like a couple of clips that they show on a loop over and over and over. And they're talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. Even though things have been ramping up and the situation is getting more dire, there's been less and less coverage, even from Al Jazeera. And if you look across the board, the level of biasness that is going on with this issue is like ridiculous. And I mean, I've seen a couple of people talk about it and show stats on how Israel, they'll talk about Israel, and they'll talk about every single person who on the Israeli side who died. Every single person. Now, they might leave out the fact that they're a soldier, they might leave out the fact that they're reservists, but they talk about their hopes, their dreams, their wishes.
But given the fact that you could,
but I was gonna say this last part, and I'll give it to you. They tell you every single thing about anybody who died in Israel, but you're hearing literally nothing about Palestinians who are died. And you're hearing for every story on October 7th, you're hearing that story for every probably 5 Palestinians that die.
Yeah, I mean, just given the fact that you can name a handful of people who passed away compared to the other side, that, you know, it's, you know, they can name 6, 7 names in their immediate family who are no longer with them. So, you know, again, this whole episode is really disgusting. You know, to see it in real time, you know, it's bad. Like, I saw a video this morning of them digging a baby, an infant, out of the rubble. I believe they said the infant survived, but it was an infant, dog, buried. And if you got kids, you're just looking at it like, even you don't have kids, but especially if you have them, and you look, you just like, a baby under a building, and for what? You understand? I mean, we know for what, but you know, at some point, something's got to give. I don't know. Yemen, as we touched on before, they're obviously doing as much as they can. Another thing they keep, you know, what I found interesting this week was the uptick in mention of Iran. I heard Iran more times this week than I had the prior week and the week before that. And it seems as if now the UK, England, is also now talking tough and reckless to Iran as well. That'll be something to watch going forward. Obviously, we know they are the number 1 enemy of, or number 2 enemy of the Zionists. So, yeah, Janice, I saw that the baby survived too. So I was glad that the baby survived. But when you look at that kind of shit, you know, for over the past, you know, 2 months that we've been looking at it, it just lets you know who you're dealing with. And the thing that sucks is if it was any other group of people doing this, any other government, let's just say this, if it was any other government doing this, we would all be able to, you know, speak and say a bunch of shit. But because it's this particular government, we see a whole bunch of dumb shit.
Well, I mean, something that I was thinking about the other day, the fact that Anthony Blinken, the first time he went over there, he said, "I come over as a Jew." Now, there's no question at all that he has any kind of bias towards Israel, that he's biased in this situation. None at all. But let it be a situation. Let's say that I was from Bangladesh, and I keep on. I mean, I'm 100% with whatever Bangladesh wants to do. At what point would people start being like, it seems like you're being biased towards your homeland. It seems like you're not being a fair arbiter. But when it comes to Anthony Blinken, that's something that is never even discussed, that he's just being biased because he's biased towards Israel. It's not even something that you can bring up. The media doesn't even question. It's just like in a court case. Court officials typically, if they have any kind of conflict of interest, they have to recuse themselves. In this situation with the funding and all that, Anthony Blinken has a huge conflict of interest, and nobody cares about that. That's not even something that's addressed. Iran, you're definitely, like Chris was saying, we're definitely gonna hear more about Iran, because they want to fight Iran so bad. Now,
no,
I tell
let me
people
just amend that. Let me just amend that real quick. They want somebody else to fight Iran so bad.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to fight Iran.
But the thing about it is, if the U.S. fights Iran, if there is any, if you see us fight or Great Britain, because if they fight, then we're hopping in instantly. If you see that, just know we are going to World War III. But here's the thing: this is what Israel wants anyway. Israel wants World War III. They want to see most of the Middle East get obliterated. And for those people who think, no, this is just about Hamas and this is about the Palestinians in Gaza, look at what's going on in the West Bank. Look at what's going on with damn near all of Israel's neighbors. They got a beef with damn near everybody.
Just look no
and
further.
They want to fight
than
everybody. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, look no further than Lebanon. They're bombing Lebanon. They're fighting Hezbollah there as well. You know, so there's action. There's action over there. You know, once Iran, and you know, everything the Houthis do, everything Hezbollah does is really Iran, right? It's not that those people want to do shit on their own. It's only because they're stooges of Iran. Of course, I hope you hear the sarcasm in my voice when I say that. But nonetheless, the very true thing is that Iran will receive the blame for everything that those two groups I mentioned do. So it's just a matter of time before they decide if they want to go after Iran. As of right now, it hasn't aligned yet for them to go at Iran. I'm not saying that's clearly it's on the table, but it doesn't seem like it's go time yet.
Well, they can't get them to bite. That's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get them to bite. And if they can get Iran to retaliate for something they do, then they can be like, see, we have to fight them now. That's all of this is, and this is what's going on with Lebanon currently right now. I mean, this week alone, they've assassinated. I mean, of course, we know they assassinated the Hamas leader, which that can be a discussion alone on if it's okay to assassinate your enemies when they're in another sovereign country. I mean, that's a whole nother argument, which we can get to another time. But you can make an argument that, okay, well, they are fighting Hamas leader over here, but it's not like dude's been hiding. Dude's been out in the open, and I don't think he's actually calling any shots on the ground in Iran. I mean, in Gaza right now. I don't think he's like in back and forth communication, because if he was, that can be intercepted and they could easily find the locations of those people, which they haven't done. I honestly believe that with the six leaders of Hezbollah who have been killed, assassinated, and by the way, they're taking out just them and a close people around them, a handful of like colleagues. They're not taking out whole families. They're not bombing whole buildings. They're finding ways to kill, to assassinate directly Hamas leaders. But then you're telling me at the same time, you don't have that ability to pinpoint accurately kill who you're trying to kill in Gaza. You have to just obliterate a whole entire block to get a handful of people. And that whole argument, well, we told them to go to the safe zone, and Hamas went there also. Well, you can't use that. You said it was a safe zone. Then you need to go march troops in there and verify it's a safe zone. You can't tell everybody to go there and expect that they're going to have, cell phones to be able to hear your command to go somewhere else. And I mean, even like some of the mass graves, they've been just like desecrating some of these mass graves of people that they just killed. So even when they're massacring a whole bunch of people, their remains are not even allowed to have dignity because of what Israel's doing. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen not only what Israel, because in the ICJ case, they show some of the speeches that some of the elected officials in Israel have been saying. I'm sure you guys have heard most of them, but if you look at the people of Gaza, I mean, not Gaza, the people in Israel, it's this one video. I don't know. Let me see if I got it, and I'm gonna send it to you, Chris. It some of this stuff I was just like, wow. And when something happens in Israel, they're gonna be like, why is Hamas attacking the civilians? Well, when you hear what some of these civilians are saying and doing, you'll understand why they don't feel that these people are off limits. And keep in mind, Israel is a good thing that I'm sending it to you on here because it looks like I'm frozen, which I probably am. It's about that time. Let's see. I'm gonna send it to you on X. Okay, I just sent it. And if I get knocked out, I mean, you can play. You don't have to play all of this, but just hop in and play some of this, and I mean, you can skip around. But it's some good videos on showing what some of the public in Israel, just some of the stuff that just actual regular citizens are saying. And what I was saying, keep in mind, everybody over like the age of 18 is required to serve in the military. So you have a lot of the people in Israel where they're like, oh, well, they're holding some of these women and stuff like that. Well, Israel's not disclosing that some of these women that are being held are IDF. And I mean, and that's something part of this biasness that's been covered in the news. Oh, well, they're holding these young girls, when they're not telling you that, okay, these handful are lieutenants and this is a corporal in the IDF. And then they say, oh, well, a person was killed in Gaza. They don't tell you that it was a 4-year-old that was killed. And this censorship.
Yeah, he called it. He said he was going to go out. So, I'll go ahead and play this. This is what he was talking about.
Evacuation corridor that the IDF set up to enable the evacuation of civilians from the northern part of the Gaza Strip to the southern part of the Gaza Strip.
People in Gaza need to die.
Is that seriously what you think?
I am killed 2 people Palestinian.
I don't believe you did that.
I am in the army. Boom, 2 people.
We're making a maximum effort to try to safeguard Gaza's civilian population.
I don't care about Gaza. I literally don't care. For all I care, they can go out and swim in the sea. I want to see dead bodies of terrorists around Gaza.
Even though Israeli propaganda is laughably dystopian at this point, it still holds a lot of people captive, a lot of their minds captive, a lot of Israelis and Americans. And we're going to get
So I think you guys already, we lost Marcus, but I think you guys already get the point as far as the propaganda goes. For Israel, it's been that way for a while. Oh, okay, I didn't know if he was coming back, but it's been that way for some time, right? And I guess I feel so torn. On one hand, I'm glad that a lot of people are starting to open their eyes somewhat, and then the other side of me is like, God damn it, what took some of you motherfuckers so long to catch up? Because people are just now like, oh, look at Biden's cabinet. They're all have dual. Most of them, they're Jewish or some are Israeli, have dual citizenship. And I'm saying, go back to the prior administration, go back to the one before it, keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. And you will see they're involved in it for a long time now, in many ways. I just don't think people really put 2 and 2 together. And then also that claim that they make of anti blah, 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 that was when it really, really was like, oh, I really don't want to be tagged that. But I mean, it's if you go back and look, the hand has been there all this time. And someone like myself, not that I'm special or anything, but again, I grew up in New York. I saw how the politics of New York worked. I saw who was the movers and shakers, and who you couldn't say shit about and who you could, and why certain neighborhoods looked certain ways. It was very clear to me from an early age what the pecking order of power was. Unfortunately, a lot of other people who didn't grow up in those environments or circumstances, they didn't get it. So they're really late to the party. So that's why for me, it's go ahead, Marcus.
And I was gonna say, it's a great point about a lot of those people being late to the party, but it blows my mind even more so for people who did grow up in those areas and they couldn't see it, or they can't see what's going on. And I'm like, how did you grow up with all this stuff going on around you and you couldn't see any of this stuff going on? And my thing is, this is what I've come to realize. There's a reason why the whole claim of anti-Semitism is so vague and so widely pervasive the way it's used. Because what's happened is, after being kicked out of 190 countries, all the different ways where people have had complaints about you, you've taken everything that was possibly made up, or maybe it was only a small percentage, to things that were real criticisms, and bundled all that into one thing. So before the next group of people even get to know about your dirty habits, you already banned all the shit that you know that they're going to say about you. It's kind of like me saying, oh, well, you can't be against people who like football and people who like really spicy food, and that just means you're hateful. When I know eventually, if you're around me long enough, you're going to find out, oh, he likes football and spicy food. It's the same thing which I see that Zionists have done. That all the different stuff, good, bad, and ugly about them stuff, they've already made. If you say anything about this, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, that I know is the stuff that I do or have sway over, then you're being anti-Semitic. And here's the thing. When you do have a group of people, you do have a bunch of Jewish people, and all Jewish people are not Zionists, but you do have a chunk who came over here after the Holocaust, didn't hardly have any money in their pocket, and had to build their way up. But you did have a bunch of Jewish people in this country who had money and power for centuries, who've had power. And I'm not talking about just right in the early 1900s. The population of Jewish people who were here going back into the 1700s, 1600s, because there were Jewish people here then too. Granted, it wasn't a large percentage, but out of the percentage that was here, 3 out of 4, 75% owned slaves. Whereas the white population adjacent to them is about 33%. When you're just going on the percent, not at actual hard numbers of how many. And how many of a lot of in fact, there were some of the slave auctions. You weren't allowed to even buy slaves on Jewish holidays because there was a lack of sellers during that time, because a lot of the selling that was going on in some of these slave markets were by Jewish people. And this is something that, as Black people, we're taught to just look at all European. Nobody's ever allowed to look at the fact of, oh, well, what about Jewish people? It's always pushed on. And the reason why I think it's important to bring up the Jewish involvement in it is because we're taught to just look at British, Irish, French. We're not taught to look at anybody else. And so what gets put into the psyche of most Black people in particular is that the Jewish people had nothing to do with slavery. That they were separate from the rest of their European counterparts who were involved in slavery. And that's intentional, that people focus it on, well, don't talk about Jewish people involved in slavery. It was just Europeans. Yeah, but when we think that way, a lot of people don't put together Jewish people and Europeans, because from Jewish people's own mouth, a lot of them were like, well, actually, we're not Europeans, we're actually Middle Eastern. So you see what I'm saying? It's a little game that's being played here. And I think it's bullshit. If white people, if British people and all that, they got to take the heat for shit that they're doing, then Jewish people shouldn't be able to sneak away and just put it off on all the other Europeans when they had a hand in it also. And then you go back to many early conquistadors. I know I know people will probably be pissed off at some of the stuff I'm saying right now, but a lot of early conquistadors were Jewish. A lot of them. And so there was a lot of money and wealth that was extracted out of the Americas into places like Spain, into there's a book called the Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean. A lot of people don't know about that. How many massive plantations, and what I'm telling you is I've read books from Jewish people talking about how we were the top plantation owners. We were saying with pride. And so I'm not going to be swayed or pushed off by people anymore by talking about stuff which I can read in books of your history that literally give the names, dates, people, location that I can see clearly with my own eyes. And it's about time more people start paying attention to some of these things and quit being swayed away by everybody, by people wanting to call everything fucking anti-Semitism. I'm tired of that fucking excuse. Because everything they just all hate us because we're Jews. No, you didn't get kicked out of 190 countries just because you were a Jew. And so quit fucking lying. Any relationship that had pitfalls, the blame might have been more on one person than the other, but blame was on both parties. And you're going to try to tell the whole fucking world that you got kicked out of 190 countries and there was no fault on your side. That's the same thing what you're hearing with these Zionists in Israel right now. How nothing is their fault. There's nothing they're doing wrong. Everything else is, well, it's Hamas who's using human shields. Well, who told you have to shoot through the humans? You're making a choice to decide to shoot through these people to go after Hamas. You don't have to do that. It's just like, do you have to? Is the only method of going after Hamas is to just bomb everything? No, it's not. But you choose that. You are making a choice. So you can't blame every damn thing on Hamas. Sorry. Some of the bullshit that I hear, it starts to aggravate me after a while, and I gotta get some of this shit off my chest. But that was my thoughts on it. My bad. Marcus, you should do history talking books or YouTube. There's some of this stuff is on my other channel in Hebrew apologetics. But I mean, there's so much information. Like I got so much stuff backed up of videos that I plan to release on being able to prove all of this stuff to the letter. I mean, nobody ever even talks about Judah Benjamin. In fact, how many people in the chat know who Judah Benjamin is? I want to know. How many people in the chat know who Judah Benjamin is? In fact, give me a 1 if you know who it is. Give me a 2 if you don't know who it is. That way I can see some. Okay, who knows what I'm talking about here? Chris, don't say it, but do you know who Judah Benjamin is?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'm seeing 2. Yonina knows because I told her. Judah, what? Yeah, Thomas don't know. Okay. Well, Judah Benjamin was a Jewish Confederate plantation owner who was so prominent that he was going to be on the Confederate $2 bill. He was one of the top Jewish officers of the Confederate, and there's a whole list of Jewish Confederate officers, many of which owned giant plantations. But that's not talked about. Aaron Lopez's plantation markets in New York aren't talked about either, because people focus on slavery as if it all happened in the South. They don't talk about Aaron Lopez, who were selling slaves in New York. Actually, he had 5 ports in the Northeast. They don't talk about the funding of some of these. I mean, there's so much I can go into, but you know what? I'm going to hear, you're just anti-Semitic. And here's the thing, just like Chris said, I didn't even grow up around Jewish people. I've had no beans or care. I didn't have no gripes against Jewish people at all. This doesn't come from having a gripe against Jewish people. This comes from just looking up information and just being like blown the fuck away at what I'm reading. And all I'm doing is sharing information which I read, which is factual information. But because people don't want this information out, and the reason why people don't want this information out is because they fear that some of the stuff that happened to them in the other 190 countries is going to come about. If people start looking at them as, oh, wait a minute, you guys have this kind of power. Oh, wait a minute, you have power, but shit is fucked up. So I should blame you for the shit that's fucked up right now. That's what the whole stopping you from complaining about anything is all about. So you don't start looking at some of the people maybe you should be upset with. Look into the De Beers Company. Look into that and see why you should have a beef. Look into Chase Bank. Look into ING. I mean, I'm not gonna go there. There's so many shit that I can go into, and I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there because this is part of what the problem. And I've talked to some of my Orthodox, some of my colleagues who are Orthodox Jewish that I've talked to, and I said, man, if y'all know about some of this stuff, why don't y'all talk about some of this stuff? And they'll be like, I know we don't agree with this, and these people were assholes, and this and this and this, but we don't feel like it's our responsibility to. And I get it. If somebody came to me and was like, Marcus, well, why don't you talk about what the black people are doing here and here and here? The difference is the black community as a community doesn't have any power. So since we don't have any political power, why does it matter if I come out and say anything? But if you have a community that has power to make things happen or get things done, just like we've talked about with Kyrie Irving, I'm just looking at when Kyrie Irving is going to be kicked out of the Dallas Mavericks, because the Ultra Zion has just bought the team and wants him up out of there. I mean, because when I started looking into this information, I started thinking, well, how many Jewish people is it? What is it, like 50 million Jewish people? It got to be like a big amount of Jewish people. I was thinking, well, what is it? What, like 15, 20% of the population must be Jewish? Because I'm seeing a lot of Jewish names all over stuff or in places of power. Now, I'm not saying every Jewish person has power or connected to power. I'm not saying that. But there are a lot of Jewish people who do have real power and do affect your life and my life. And so that excuse of, oh, you say anti-Semitic because I have wealth. Well, I'm not saying that all Jewish people have wealth, but there are plenty who do have wealth, who do own law firms, who do own movie productions, who do own basketball teams and football teams and are commissioners of let's see, what is it right now? Well, I mean, if you look up, for instance, the NBA, out of like the 6 commissioners that we've had, 4 of them have been Jewish. Now, a population that is 2% of the Americans somehow is more than half of the commissioners over the NBA. That don't sound a little strange at all. Here. And if you say, well, that's just because you're anti-Semitic. Okay, well, how many Native Americans are running corporations? Wouldn't you find that weird if the Native American population, which is less than 5% was on 50% of the executives on most of the corporations you ran across? Wouldn't you find that fucking strange? But no. If you even bring it up, it's just because you hate Jewish people, which is the biggest load of bullshit. And the reason why I know that this argument is thrown out there is because if anybody comes after, and I'm not saying that it's every single Jewish person who's in power. I'm not even saying that. But there are a nice chunk who are in places of power and who use their power. If you look at the Sheldon Adelsons, which Sheldon Adelson, his widow, from their casino empire, just bought the Dallas Mavericks. She uses that power. If you look into some, because I'm talking about even in politics, start looking into these politicians and look at who these people are who are giving these politicians money. Look at the names, do the research on these people. And I'm just saying, in general, you should look it up. If you find out, well, this guy, he got an interesting name. Oh, wait a minute, this guy is related to the Saudi prince. That should ring some bells. Okay, let me pay attention to this person. What are these people's interests? What are the goals? What are their pet projects that they push? Because you have plenty of people like a Bill Gates, who he's looked at as this tech icon, but spends all his money worrying about getting shots to people. That's not strange. Being involved in healthcare. And that's what I'm saying. If you just look at the information, this shit don't fucking add up. And I'm definitely not spending 2024 being scared of somebody calling me a fucking name, because I call out what is fucking clear and obvious to see. But sorry for my little tangent, y'all. Sorry for my little tangent. But it's just a lot of stuff that's just been aggravating me. And this kind of leads in from Israel to this whole terror. It's kind of like what did old boy say, that it's libel, some kind of libel, that South Africa is even bringing a suit against Israel? Or if you ask for a ceasefire, that means you hate, you think the nation of Israel shouldn't exist. This leaps in logic. It's like if I saw a woman and I said hi to her and she's like, that means he wants to rape me. It's like, what? That's what I'm hearing from Zionists. Because you say one thing, let me just twist this into what I think you might be saying. And here's the thing. When I hear some of these people, it's like, do you realize that you're only 2% of the population? You realize a lot of Americans don't even know about all this crap that you believe is that is anti-Semitic tropes. We don't all fucking know these anti-Semitic tropes. We didn't grow up around you. I'll hear them say that. I heard somebody talking about blood libel. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? I don't even know what that means. And if you just ask questions about something, it's just like when I saw a video that in, what was it, Auschwitz, I think, that some of the Jewish people in the Holocaust, well, I don't want to say Holocaust, I'll say that were in the concentration camps, were literally playing fucking soccer with the guards. Why come you never hear that story? And the thing about it is, just because some good things happen doesn't mean it negates all the bad. But why is it such an effort to hide away and only claim everything was so over the top horrible? Why is it that when numbers get revised in some of these places where there were concentration camps, we never hear about any of these numbers being revised? Never hear about them. And even like Holocaust museums and stuff don't tout any of these revised numbers. It's just like I still hear politicians coming out of Israel that some of them will still tout 1,400 people were killed, even though the number is 1,200.
Or even 1,200. And
well, they never
again,
mentioned
to
how
this
many were
point,
IDF either. How many were IDF or reservists? That's never mentioned.
Well, in addition, again, I think all of it is bullshit. I think Hamas was, I think those were Zionist contractors they hired. You know what I mean? On October 7th. I just think the way the whole shit happened, they didn't attack them. You knew what was going to happen. If I run into your house, I know that you're going to bring out the Gatling gun. So why don't I come with the biggest and best attack that I have? But instead, I shot up a music festival. I didn't try to take down a police station, a courthouse, a government, the Knesset, nothing. Like, I didn't try to hit none of those buildings where your military shit is at. I didn't do any of that. I just did this. And every single Palestinian knows that if you do anything to them, they're going to respond the way that they have been responding. It's going to be overkill. So why would you respond why would you make that little weak ass attack knowing what's going to come back? So to me, I think that's clear evidence that whoever did this was not regular Palestinians who were in Gaza saying, yeah, let's do something to them. I don't think so. They knew that festival was out there, and this was a perfect time to do it, where they could get a couple of casualties and they don't have to deal with a whole lot of property damage either. So again, look, you have to be calculated and think. You have to be calculated and think like these people, right? Sacrifice is nothing. Everything is a equation. These are all numbers. And they looked at it like, hey, if we sacrifice a few here, look what we'll be able to do over the next 90 days, next 120 days, next 180 days. We can hit all of these benchmarks as well. So, and, people in the crowd were mentioning the Greater Israel Project. If anybody is not familiar with that, just go look at it. Go look at the map at where the proposed borders would be, and then just go look to see where conflicts are, brewing, or where things aren't all good. That should help you see things a little bit clearer. But I want to get off. It was a video
I was trying to find. But look this up. Somebody in Israel made a whole lot of money on the way that they their stock investments were right at the time of October 7th. Somebody traded and moved a whole lot of money right before that time, and they haven't disclosed who the person was who made money off of this. But this looks like somebody had advanced knowledge that it was happening. And according to Israeli sources, they've admitted that they knew the attack was coming. And their excuse is, we just don't believe that we didn't believe that they can pull it off. And right now in Israel, currently, there are people who are trying to get an inquiry into, okay, who dropped the ball on this? Why would this happen? Because it doesn't make sense to a lot of people how. And people could say, well, it was just Netanyahu who dropped the ball. No. Let's not play these games. Netanyahu is not sitting at every computer screen. He is not walking the post. He is not telling guards where to be and not be. He's not doing all that. A prime minister doesn't do all that. A president doesn't do all that. Mm-hmm. This took coordination for all of these people to miraculously not be where the attacks were coming. This took coordination for them to know how to take out the different automated machine gun turrets. This took timing, and it took a lot of coordination for people to for them to strike in all of these different ways all at the same time. And you're talking about, you're telling me that they know exactly how much fissile material that Iran has and how close they are to getting to a bomb, and know exactly where the scientist is that they need to take out, but they don't have a clue what's going on in Gaza, which has no technology, which they literally have some people that they pat down 2 or 3 times a day. You're telling me that they had no clue what was going on over there? If you believe that, either you're complicit with trying to cover this up, or you are a fucking idiot. Period. Only one of the two. If you believe that. So
yeah, I know.
well,
And
on that subject, I mean, I'm done on that subject. If you want to, move on.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the
one last thing that I was gonna say when you were talking about the Greater Israel Plan. The Greater Israel Plan comes literally from the Bible. It comes from in Genesis, where it says the land of the Israelites will be in the last days from the Nile to the Euphrates. And if you look that up, that is literally all of Gaza, part of Saudi Arabia, going into Iran, going into Iraq, Egypt. And so they need in order for it to fulfill Bible prophecy, that's why they need war with Iran, because you need to go into all these areas, because you need to claim all these areas. And with a lot of the people in the settler movement, and people say, well, I hear some of these people who run cover for Zionists who say, well, I don't support Netanyahu. Yes, you do. You know how you support Netanyahu? Because if you're defending Israel, you're defending him, and you are defending his plan from the Likud party. So you can't sit there and keep, well, I don't defend Netanyahu. Yes, you are, because this is what Netanyahu is doing. So if you're giving cover for it, you are defending it. Plain and simple. Yeah, Mount Ararat is in Turkey, but if you go into that whole plan, that they need to go into all these different lands, and that goes into biblical prophecy. But while speaking of biblical prophecies, the Chabad the Chabad Lubavitch synagogue, they're kind of interesting people in general, and so we'll definitely go into that. I mean, Chris is going to talk a little bit about that, but I also do want to kind of give you guys some background on these people. They believe that their Messiah, what was his name? I'm blanking on his name right now. Menachem. Somebody said it in the chat earlier. Menachem something. Dang, who was that said his name? Well, anyway, they believe that their Messiah, he died. Well, some believe he died in 94. Some believe that
Menachem Mendel.
Yeah, Menachem Mendel Schneerson. That's that Rebbe. And for people who live in New York, especially in like the Brooklyn area, if you live in Crown Heights, you've probably seen pictures of this dude up on walls and stuff. They literally believe he is their Messiah who died but is not dead. Some believe he is literally still alive. And some believe that like they are supposedly acting on his wishes. And when it comes to the Orthodox Hasidic Jewish kind of movement, there's kind of like two sects. There's the ones who are kind of almost like the Amish, which don't believe in technology and stuff like that. And then you have the other sect, which are this Lubavitch movement, which they're a little bit more in with the technology and all that. One group believes that they need to bring back the Messiah through just praying, and that's the other one, which I can't remember their name right now. They just believe, oh, if we just pray and we just be good Jews and follow the Torah, then that'll bring the Messiah. The other group believe that they need to go around to every Jewish person and try to recruit them or try to get them to do prayers and all this stuff like that. And it's like you can build up enough wattage of Messiah juice, and that's going to bring back the Messiah. And so That's just a little bit of background. What some of these people believe. This synagogue has been owned, I believe, since like the 20s or 30s, and it's continuously like expanded and grew out. And that number, what is it, 770, started because that was the original plot, which they bought out more and more and more and more plots on it. So it's just gotten larger and larger and larger over time. But that's a little bit of background on it. But back to you, Chris.
Yeah, no, just obviously we got the last thing on the board, or one of the last things is the tunnel, but also to wrap up the foreign policy part of it, now, for people who don't understand why the military budget is 800 something billion dollars this go round, is because the United States clearly is planning on involving themselves in this issue in Israel and wherever else it takes them. Look, we're already bombing in Yemen, and also to continue funding situations going on in Ukraine. So, if you follow the money tells me that there's more shit coming down the road, because some of these weapon systems need to be upgraded. So that means you got to use some of these weapons, right? You don't just want to keep using them on, in empty mountain ranges, and, at sea. Sometimes the people who make these things want to put them into, the people who make them and the people who buy them for sure want to use them at some point in time, because they damn sure didn't buy them shits just to put up in a garage somewhere, right? So just keep in mind in that the spending towards Israel, of course, is going to be ridiculous, as it has been with Ukraine. But anyway, everybody, I'm pretty sure, is looking at the tags to the show, wondering when we're going to get into it. I saw Yipper.
Yo, you gotta pull up videos. You gotta pull up videos on that. If we gotta talk about. We gotta watch the videos.
I got the video. I got the video right here. So, earlier this week, it came to the city of New York's attention that in Brooklyn, Crown Heights section on Eastern Parkway, I think the building address is 770. Anyway, there was people nearby were reporting loud sounds and hearing voices under the ground, even though they did not have basements. And Yiddish, even though the speech strokes is going to be. Oh, sorry, I was just reading something, guys. But anyway, the people were saying that they heard loud noises, they heard voices, they heard Yiddish in particular, and they were saying, like, wait a second, I don't have a basement. What's going on? So anyway, come to find out, underneath the synagogue was a terror tunnel, because as I said earlier, they like naming everything, right? But matter of fact, I'll just show you guys a video real quick, and then we'll
show the video first, and then we'll get to it.
I'll show you guys this video, because then I want to ask a question, and if you don't see the video, then my question won't make sense. All right, so here's a video of the actual tunnel. There may not be much sound. Yeah, there may not be sound, but this is the beginning.
Well, it's just not sound on that part.
On this one, yeah. So look, this is them going downstairs into the actual tunnels, right?
And we got to make sure we do this a couple of times, because there's a couple of things we need to point out after everybody's seen it.
Yeah. So you can see it's not fully dug out. This looks like here. That looks like a car seat of some sort.
I would say not a car seat, but
here on the
like
left,
a stroller
seat or feeding or high chair or something, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, like a feeding chair, like a high chair.
Mm-hmm. So clearly this is a work in progress. Clearly. So you see they dug another hole into this wall, and this part of the tunnel extends all the way down. That goes it's quite a distance. So go ahead, Marcus. Did you want to say anything about this particular video? Because I got another one too.
What I would say about that video is, for one, these motherfuckers are filthy. That shit is dirty as hell in there. For two, some of the stuff that's in there, I'm like, somebody needs to explain this to me. Now, I tend to be the type of person where I'm gonna lay out all the information. I'll let Chris and I'll let y'all come to y'all conclusions on what y'all believe it is. Unless I got like some solid, I don't feel always comfortable with going all the way and claiming that it's exactly something. But what I will say is I see a lot of things that strike me as odd. And we're just talking about this video first. You see, for one, you see like all the paint that's scraped off the walls going down it. Why is all the paint scraped off the walls? It's almost like you're dragging stuff across the wall, or possibly a lot of things are being rubbed against this wall. Now, that can happen from somebody being forced down. That can happen from moving stuff up and down. That could just be because it's super old and you guys never did the maintenance on it.
That's what I was
But
going to say.
it doesn't make
for that. Yeah, that part is it's an old building. That's not the part they're gonna upkeep like that.
That's what I'm saying. But I just want to be thorough in all the stuff that I say first. Another thing is, if you go back to and put the video back up, I thought that I was like, when I saw a snapshot, I'm like, did somebody edit that in? Or I need to know also, what is the age of the people who is that synagogue strictly for study, almost kind of like a college, like like college level studying? Or is it people of families and all age? Is it just people training to be Rebbe's? Or is it, all different groups of people who will be in there? Because how you have some places which are men only. Now, right here, pause it. This right here is a little sketchy too. I see shoes here. I see clothes here. And you can see zits or zitzis, depending on how you want to say it. You can see those hanging there. That means somebody changed down here. Either they changed down here or they took off their clothes down here. Why would you be down here to take off your clothes and change? Is there no place else in that building you could take off your clothes and change? Or is something else going on? Because that right there is clearly a shirt that has zits or zitzis, because they say zits, we say zitzis. You can see pants, you can see jacket, you can see shoes there, and there all of these clothes and stuff that were found down here, various different types of clothes, have been sent off for analysis. Also, you see like chairs and things like that down there, where somebody is just, what are they, just hanging out down here? What are you doing where you need to go down where nobody else is at to go hang out? What's going on? And there's I saw, what was it? Right there, pause it that part when you get over there where that like something is like that beam or something is like leaned up against the wall. Go back to that part. That red thing. You see the red thing? Stop it on the red thing. What the hell is that? Now, from just a snapshot that I saw,
that
it looks like a doll. It looks like a doll that a kid would play with. What is that doing there? There's a lot of stuff that does not make sense about stuff that's going on there. Now, what they said, some of the stuff that people said is they were trying to expand it over, trying to expand it. And we'll get more into it, but this is something I just want to bring up. They said that, we were trying to expand it. Now, where the area was going over to, it was going over to what's called a mikvah. For those who don't know what a mikvah is, part of the Torah, when it comes to like temple proceedings, like
Marcus,
a woman or
Marcus, hold on.
Yeah.
Marcus,
Okay.
Real quick. Before you get into mikvah, I'm gonna put it in so we can have something to back this up. But all you gotta say is that's where the chicks were.
Yeah, I mean, that's not incorrect. A mikvah is where women who, after their time of the month, they go to this like bath area to be purified and cleansed. And so what I'm seeing is either way, whatever's going on here is not on the up and up. There it is right there. The community news outlet Crown Heights Info said a construction worker discovered it spanned from under the women's section of the synagogue to a mikveh, a Jewish ritual cleansing bath, on the corner of Union Street. Synagogue leadership decided to close off the women's section until a decision could be reached on how to secure the building. So somebody down there having like a Porky's kind of situation. I don't know who all remembers the movie Porky's, but this kind of sounds like a situation like that, because I typically come from the point of view that sometimes it's not one thing, sometimes it's multiple things, because people have different interests. And I'm wondering who's trying to get over to the mikveh. That's kind of what some of that sounds like. But, I heard this thing goes on for like 60 feet. I don't know. That's my little part that I'll say for right now.
I'm trying to find the overlay of because I think there's another funny money building, or another building of interest, shall we say, that is right next to that one. So again, nothing else looks good. Matter of fact, we got another video too on this. This is the one you sent, Marcus.
Yeah. Well, here's something that's wild to me also. You like, they said that like they was pulling like a Shawshank Redemption. Like these dudes were like putting dirt in their pocket and like going upstairs like they're in the prison and like tossing the dirt out. Like that this is sounding real sketchy and weird.
In the other video, I will show the the stained mattress. There's two mattresses that they pulled out, and they were stained, and it looked like it was excrement on one of the mattresses. And I'm thinking to myself, if you're piercing a particular body part of a child, right? The body probably wouldn't be able to handle that, and there will be some sort of reaction. And I think that's all. Do you want to talk about just really jumping off the deep end? I'll do it. I'll jump off the deep end. If I fall on my face, so be it. But it looks like wild, nasty shit was going on down there, because why do you have mattresses down there? That doesn't even sound like, It was adults getting it on. You had little twin, dirty-looking mattresses down there. I mean, I guess if that's if all the women in the mikvah, if that's what all it took was a tunnel date and a twin mattress, hey, I guess the guys is winning, right? I mean, but yeah, this no bueno, kid. Yeah, I'll play this video.
Mm-hmm.
$2024 bingo card. Hidden Jewish tunnels under New York City, then you are winning at life because you just nailed it. This is really, I have to think, the most bizarre story I've heard in a very long time. But I think it could potentially, we don't
What the hell?
know yet. It could really have potentially really troubling pieces of the story as they come out here. And we have a lot of questions. We have a lot of questions about this story. First, some context. What you're seeing here, notice the people in the middle of your screen who are hiding there in underground caves in New York City, which have been busted wide open and are now being filled with cement as a result of discovering these really damaging and hidden caverns underneath the city of New York. Late yesterday afternoon, a wild riot broke out inside a New York City synagogue in Brooklyn. Police had to be called in. Why? Look at these secret, I mean, they're coming out of the ground. And a riot breaks out as a result of it. I mean, construction workers show.
Marcus, did you see the memes where they said Teenage Mutant Ninja?
Yeah. Well, the crazy thing about it, the most like
where they was
the most like egregious like ones I saw, it came from the ADL themselves. Like they were like, we just heard like people are doing, and I'm like, man, I ain't seen none of that shit nowhere. Only the ADL was the ones who were like making about like rats, like they were rats with baby. Like,
thank you,
the
ADL. Thank you.
What's up, Emmanuel? What's up, brother? But the ADL were the ones who were making it like they were the ones who were coming up with like they're the only place I saw like the most egregious memes. Like they did like an AI of like the rabbis coming out and they had like a whole bunch of mattresses. And I'm like, did y'all just literally make up this shit so you can claim that this is what people are saying? Like for real?
Yo, do you remember the tagline for the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie? It was "Secret of the Ooze."
Yeah.
And you see
pause.
What they calling it online?
Big time pause on that.
Yeah. No, but you see the movie, right? It was like Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, right? They making a play on that, saying "secret of the word that rhymes with ooze." Right?
Oh, okay.
They was going crazy with they were going crazy with the Ninja Turtle memes because homeboy crawled up out the sewer like that shit is normal.
I'm like, bitch, are you Donatello or something? What the fuck? I heard people calling them like Super Mario Brothers also.
Yeah, they was calling them that too. But anyway, let's go back to it because I think they're about to show the mattress.
This is when the riot started. So construction workers showed up and started trying to pour cement into these hidden tunnel systems. And that these Orthodox Jewish members had built. It's illegal. And you're not allowed to live underneath. Look at that police officer. He pulled up a taser. He's like, you guys got to get back. They're trying to fight the fact that they're now going to uncover what's perhaps in these tunnels. Is it just people? Is it just they're using it to traverse the area?
I was wondering if it was like, because I don't know if you know this, but in a lot of those Jewish communities, they will tie a rope from one house to the other because they're not allowed to leave their house on the Sabbath. But they're thinking as if the rope is attached, it's not technically leaving their house because it's still part of it. So maybe they were trying to attach these tunnels so that it was.
No, that's not what it was doing.
How many
That's not what
stories
they
did
were
we
doing.
see
That don't
last
even
year
make
of
sense.
buildings collapsing,
right?
Apartment buildings.
It does. I'm looking for the
and the reason why I can say that no, that's completely
part where
BS.
See, I don't know if
I'm
this
not
video
even,
has it.
I'm not even in New York, and I can tell you this: in that area of Crown Heights, there was nobody telling their ass that they couldn't go to the synagogue. Stop it. Well, COVID regulation, that ain't what was happening. That is just the BS excuse that was made up to try to cover this shit up.
Yeah. And, you should do some research about that particular location as well. I think you will find the history there very eye-opening.
While you at it, I sent you a story too that I want you to open up. I mean, we'll read a little bit on this because
I'm gonna let this play a little bit.
You know what?
Right back.
Okay, and I got one other thing.
With so many things we don't know right now. Why were they building these tunnels? The dispute. So, okay, the New York City Police Department was called in because these construction workers showed up. Like, who called the construction workers? That's what I'd like to know. Number one, who called the construction workers to show up in the first place? And were they filling in cement on the streets? Because on the streets, you can actually see some of the caves. You could actually see some of the tunnels from the streets. So is the city like trying to do some routine maintenance when they uncovered this? Like, what the hell is going on here? So then as you make
those
yeah, well, we got the videos here.
Videos of people, of walking on the sidewalks of New York, and you can see holes and see down into what appears to be tunnels.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. And then, of course, you see the individuals coming out of the holes in the ground out on the streets under hidden entranceways that were being hidden by newspaper holders, where you get the free daily circular or whatever. So they're sliding them out of the way over a grate that has a hole cut in it, and they're climbing down into the holes. There you go. Look at that. It's an example of one of them. It's hidden behind this like newspaper bin that's there. It's insane. It's really bizarre. And then, so members of the Chabad Lubavitch have been digging tunnels under the synagogue at 770 Eastern Parkway in the Crown Heights neighborhood of Brooklyn. And they've been doing this for many, many months. Now, the website forward.com is coming forward and reporting that it was designed to reach an abandoned woman's mikveh or ritual baths. Now, this is according to forward.com. The website said the tunnel had been dug to expand the synagogue, although it was unclear how they would actually do that by expanding the synagogue under the ground. The tunnels were discovered back in December, and then the synagogue's leaders called in a structural engineer then to assess the damage of it. And then the cement mixers arrived to try to fill in these tunnels, and then that's when a lot of these young Orthodox Jewish men reacted, started ripping away the wooden walls. And then when they started ripping away the wooden walls, you started to discover some really troubling things behind the walls. We take a look at some of well, as you're seeing the footage here, but what's behind the walls is really bizarre. Like this high chair, like children's high chairs in back in these rooms, these soiled children's mattresses.
Oh.
A lot.
Come on, y'all. Now for the women in the chat, this could also be a situation in which, maybe you went to sleep and you woke up and, your aunt came to visit you in the middle of the month, right? But that doesn't look like where you would probably be sleeping for where that would happen, right? So with that being said, that's nefarious shit, literally. Pause, all of it. But it's all ugly, all of it. There's no way that happens. Yeah, no. Nah. Why is that down there? Why do you think about it? Think about it. We're digging a tunnel, right? Why we need a bed underneath a tunnel?
Well,
But
we
can get out this tunnel. We could get out this tunnel real quick and go upstairs and shower, get something to eat, go somewhere, etc., etc. So why we need mattresses underground?
Their explanation, this is what part of the explanation was, that they started off trying to do a crude version of digging, and they weren't doing a very good job. So they went and hired, as they called, Mexicans to come in and actually build it up structurally. And so since it was top secret, the Mexicans had to stay underground and live there while they were doing the tunnel. That's the excuse that I heard. And yes, Yonina, I have read the Talmud. I'm actually working on a video for Hebrew apologetics to go into some of the very heinous things that are said in the Talmud.
You know, let's look at it this way, right? If the police pull you over for speeding and they smell a little bit of ganja, they gonna want to be like, yo, all right, who got the bud? Police, you go there, you find mattresses underground, and you don't think to make that now a crime scene? At least a potential crime scene, you don't think to at least section off the area, get everybody out now at this point. You know, let's just make sure, look, if you ain't doing that, you won't have anything to worry about, but we need to handle this like a crime scene and not so much like how they handled it. But anyway, I'll play the video.
A lot of people. So again, we have a lot of questions. We don't know, why are there children's mattresses hidden in these tunnels? Soiled children's mattresses. Why are there children's high chairs in these tunnels? We don't know. We sure would like answers, though, and I hope there's an investigation. Vice News, though, many years ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. He talked about this. That's why I'm glad that he did go into this.
And this goes back. So when we talk
I
about
sent this article to you.
These child rape assembly lines, as the Vice News article had covered this back in 2013,
Yep.
the child rape assembly line. And a rabbi at the time walked in on one of these bathhouses and saw the absolute unbelievable, disgusting, horrible stuff.
That story is pretty foul. What this rabbi alleges happened, Rabbi Newcomb Rosenberg. Well, I don't even want to say alleged, because why he got a lie. You know, he walked into the bathhouse and
Chris,
he saw
he don't have to lie. One of the guys turned himself in and admitted to doing it.
Oh yeah, that's right. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
that's in that thread you sent me.
Yeah, the rabbi had the boys sitting on his lap, and they were both naked. So we know what happened, what we're talking about. He was raping the boy, and when this rabbi in the picture here, Rosenberg, said something to the rabbi about this, the rabbi grabbed a back scratcher and boxed him across the face with it. You know, and basically told him, "Shut up," and this is just how we do things here. You know, the thing about it is, like, when did he find, like, they've had to have been doing this. You know, one thing I must say, though, this doesn't look good for any of the people who follow Abrahamic religions, well, at least the bastardized versions of them, because whether we're talking Catholics, Muslims, Jewish people, it seemed like, people don't care about their kids, because they will just sexually abuse these children to no fucking end. This shit is crazy. You know, today's the Jews, right? You know, decades past, we were talking about the Catholic Church and how fucked up they are. You know, because they might actually, and they might lead the league.
But Chris, this has always been going on. It's just never been allowed to be talked about, because when you get into the Orthodox Hasidic community, it's so closed off and so secretive. I mean, I think about this: how many people in the Christian church even really know what Orthodox Jews or what most Jewish people even believe? That's how sectioned off it is.
And you know, in New York, whenever these stories hit the news, right, especially about like herpes being rampant in that community.
Oh, I sent you that one. Oh,
It's
no,
because
drop it down and show the article. That way people know we ain't just talking.
Yeah. That's
just
what,
talking.
Yeah, because I want to play some of the video, but even though like the rate of herpes in that community is high, and then you learn what? That after they abuse the kids, they're allowed to flee to Israel to avoid prosecution. And Israel says, well, if you want to prosecute these people, you know what you do? You have to go to Interpol, get a warrant, then have them contact our law enforcement. Then we'll go ahead and find the people. Well, the jurisdiction of whatever county USA probably doesn't have the funds to pursue this. I mean, New York does. I don't know why they don't. But there's a number of them in New York who've gotten in trouble and they fled to Israel. They use their contacts and they sneak out of the country and they get to Israel where they're okay. I mean, again, like you just said, Marcus, this stuff that's not talked about, but this stuff that's talked about, because you know what's funny? Ironically, this particular group, whenever it comes to people like us, they're the ones who make us look the worst. I'm not saying that we don't make our own decisions. I'm saying they're the ones who choose to portray us in a certain light on their TVs and networks, right? So now that you got people like Marcus and myself talking about this, don't call us anything other than we just commenters. We're commentators on the shit we see, right? If it was anybody else, we would call them out just the same. But I don't personally, I don't feel funny about this, because every bad negative portrayal in the media is coming from something owned by them. So all the times about us being deadbeat dads, drug addicts, thugs, prisoners, classless, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Who owns all them networks that's constantly pushing this is Zionists in almost every single instance. You know what I'm saying? But Marcus, I'm gonna go back and play this video real quick.
Okay.
Stuff that was happening to these children in these bathhouses, and blew the lid on it. And of course, then there was a number of arrests in Brooklyn and a number of arrests throughout New Jersey. So I don't know if you guys remember the corruption and the arrests that happened in New Jersey, but it also swept into Brooklyn. So here's a news report from 2009, just to light a fire in your brain. And again, I don't know that these tunnels now today are in any way related to that. But when you find children's mattresses and you find high chairs, one has to wonder. Here's the news report from 2009. Take a look.
These were arrests on a massive scale. Amongst those taken into custody by the FBI were city mayors, politicians, and religious leaders. The authorities needed buses to cope with the sheer scale of the operation.
New Jersey's corruption problem is one of the worst, if not the worst, in the nation. Corruption is not only pervasive, it has become ingrained in New Jersey's political culture.
It's thought that religious charities controlled by prominent rabbis were used to launder cash. The arrests were part of a 10-year operation that uncovered money laundering on an international scale, as well as corruption and the sale of human organs in the US, Switzerland, and Israel.
The sale of human organs. The sale of human organs, people. That was a France 24 piece. And I remember it clearly because it was all over New Jersey news when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The sale of human organs.
You know what one difference about that
the
is?
FBI arrested them for that. Like, this isn't like fantasy. They were arrested as a result of that. And she tags that. I mean, she's talking about money laundering, the other thing, and the sale of children's human organs. Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, one difference of that time right there, we
Mark,
had real.
you want me to pause this, or you want just to let it?
No. You can let it ride, because I wanted that to come up, because like I tell people all the time, it's not always one thing. There's multiple things, just like I talked about with this whole Zionism thing. As far as the Israelis, you got the secular ones who they are looking at monetary gain, whether it's the pipeline, which the Ben Gurion Ben Gurion pipeline that they want in, whether it's the gas, whether it's the oil that's under Gaza, whether it's the oceanfront property, whether it's the religious sect who feel like they're fulfilling biblical prophecy. There's a whole bunch of people who are all getting something out of it. It's just like in America with the defense contractors. There's money involved. There's people getting reelected. There's campaign donations. All of these things, there's always more than one thing that somebody is getting out of, because in order for you to get all of these people on the same page, all of them have to be getting their cut of what they want. And this is what's going on in these situations.
Correct. That's the only way that you. That's the only way you can keep going, right?
Yeah, it's just like on the Epstein Island thing. There are some people who they might want young girls, underage girls. There's some people who literally out there, disgusting asses, want toddlers. There are some out there who want young boys. There are some who want to hold people down against their will and just take it, man or woman. There are people, you guys seen the Hostel movies. There are people out there doing shit like that too. So it's the whole gambit of stuff that's the reason why you got to go to a whole nother island, because there's a lot of shit that these people want to do. And they let these people fulfill whatever twisted desire that they have. And it's the same thing with something like this. There are people who want to get a cut too. Exactly. So that's just what I would add to it. I mean, there's so many different levels to this stuff. And if you get afraid of them calling you a stupid little name, then you don't ever dig into any of this stuff. And what that tells me is, if you're part of that community and you're not trying to call out this stuff, then what that means is you're complicit by trying to cover it. You're no different if somebody robs a bank than the person who stands out there as the lookout. You're complicit. You might not be doing the actions, you might not be benefiting from it, but the fact that you run cover for people doing this stuff, you're just as guilty.
It's nasty, B.
And a judgment will come to you for being complicit. Just keep that in mind.
Journalists back then. We had real journalists exposing that kind of stuff. Could you imagine that probably wouldn't happen today if that was going on?
No, and even
actually
CNN separately did a report on what was happening specifically on the Brooklyn piece of this. Again, this is where the tunnels were discovered.
Oh, pause it real quick, Chris.
And so
pause it real quick.
It's a very insular community there. So to get like outside reporting in here is very, very difficult.
Y'all remember not that long ago when we had Greg and Jeremy on from the Antidote, and we were going in and we were talking about and Sebs and Allie were here too, and we were talking about these boys' towns, and we talked about one in Israel. This boys' town stuff is all tied to stuff like that. That's the reason why those boys' town things, most of them don't exist anymore. Because the same type of stuff that we're hearing about, these rings and trafficking and all that stuff. And then, like I said, sometimes it's not just about that stuff. Sometimes they literally use these kids to raise them up to be criminal armies for them. Because in boys' towns, they had some of the kids going out there robbing people.
Yes, they did.
So it's more complex than most people ever really imagine. And I know this might sound bonkers to say, but you gotta start looking at these people like literal fucking movie villains. You guys might think this is fantasy or fiction to think that way. But when you're dealing with people who are so high up on these levels that they do not look at you as a human being, there's no level to what they will do or consent to have done to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Boys Town thing was something that was national, and it was I would say not only national, it was international. There were all kinds of different Boys Town
this
things, which a
community.
lot of those have went away. Oh, go ahead.
But CNN, this again,
Oh yeah, fair use or whatever other shit you got to say so that people don't, you know, come for you. Fair use. We ain't selling shit.
Yes.
report from that exact same time talking about this corruption and what was going on in these bathhouses. Listen.
Want to know I took my business to the next level? It's simple.
When they do that,
It's
listen to
Shopify.
something important. Hey, take this
Shopify gives you
commercial.
So I gotta have you log into my other account. That way you don't have to do commercials.
In this Brooklyn enclave, strict rules dictate just about everything the men and women of this Hasidic Jewish community do. It is home to a sect called the Satmars, who are known for being closed off to outsiders. That's why the conviction of a respected member, 54-year-old Nehemiah Weberman, is seen as so significant among sex abuse victims. He was accused of sexually abusing a young girl for over 3 years and was found guilty on 59 counts against him.
I look at this as a new era for the Jewish religious community.
Weberman was hired as a counselor by the girl's parents when she began challenging strict Satmar rules at the age of 12. He denied any abuse. His support from the community was so strong, a fundraiser was held for him that was met with protests. The Brooklyn district attorney charged 4 men in June with trying to bribe the victim, who is now 18, to keep quiet with $500,000. They've pled not guilty. The district attorney praised the woman for her courage in coming forward. This trial also went beyond sex abuse allegations, and it exposed practices of an insular community known for its secrecy. And among them is the use of so-called modesty councils.
It's just kind of common knowledge in the community that these squads exist. You hear about them from when you're very little. They're touted as a means to get people to behave, like you better behave or the Vad Hatznius will come after you. So we all know that they're there. In fact, they almost attain a sort of mystique and a just sort of communal fear.
26-year-old Deborah Feldman grew up in the Satmar community, but broke out as a young adult and wrote the book Unorthodox, a memoir about growing up in Williamsburg.
Ostensibly, what modesty squads are looking for is forbidden music, forbidden books, forbidden magazines, forbidden internet access devices like computers or smartphones. They're looking maybe for love letters or for photographs.
Feldman hopes the verdict will prompt others to speak out about abuse without fear of retaliation. Others in the community remain convinced Weberman is not guilty, and his lawyer plans to appeal.
So again, what's the connection here? There's a long history in this community of this type of abuse. And then when you see soiled children's mattresses and high chairs in these tunnels, and you have a history of this type of abuse and neglect, we would like to know more about it. That's what we're asking here. So hopefully we will get some answers. And now with these 11 arrests of these individuals who were in these tunnels in New York City, hidden in these tunnels, and they were arrested by the NYPD, maybe we will learn something about it. We hope.
Yeah.
Their charges are very minimal. I think they were all charged with misdemeanors. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that's what I read.
Yes. Has it occurred to you to ask this question? Why now do we get this story when the Hasidic community is being so vocal against the anti-Zionist movement, or they are anti-Zionist? So
but they're not all they're not all the same, though, right?
No, but by and large, the Hasidic community, though, many of them, not all, but I would say the Chabad Lubavitch movement, they are they are anti-Zionist. They're against the state of Israel. So just so happens that the story can get leaked on them.
Anti-Zionist, and we get this now, right? I'm just asking.
Yeah, it's a great question, right? There's absolutely no coincidences at all. And so it's interesting. I mean, we know,
but that's good on that one.
We know this community, and we know what has happened here with sexual abuse and the sale of organs.
Yeah, that's good on that one. And shout out to Redacted. You guys need to, even though we don't always agree with everything that they do, well, we don't agree with everything anybody does, but they do a lot of good work a lot of times when they're not falling back into the Democrat bad, Republican good bullshit. But shout out to Redacted. I sent you a couple of quick pictures, and then well, I couldn't get this one to send to your to Twitter or X, so I text two of them. I'm not gonna read them out loud. I just want you to put them on the screen because these are from, one is what, Sanhedrin 5B, and the other one is no, not 5. I said Sanhedrin 54B and then Sanhedrin 55B.
I got two messages in the group chat. That, I mean, in the
well, and I sent you a couple in the text also. Because Yonina brought up the Talmud, and this is what I wanted to show this, because a lot of people think that, oh, well, they're studying the Torah. They call the Talmud the oral Torah. So literally what they are studying in these synagogues they're pretty much studying the Babylonian Talmud. And for those who don't know, it says some wicked shit in there. Then you have what's called the midrash. It's broken into two parts. You have the midrash and you have the I can't remember I'm blanking on the other part of it right now. But one is kind of like basically the Talmud overall is so-called interpretations from the sages and rabbis on what they believe the Bible actually is saying, because they don't, so they go to what a rabbi thinks that it's actually saying, and they argue that. Now this is Sanhedrin 54B. I will not read this out loud. Hopefully you can read it. Take your time. We'll leave it up here for like a minute and then put the other one up there. This is what Yanina was talking about read the Talmud. Have you guys read the Talmud? Which I haven't like read through the whole Talmud. It takes far too long. I mean, people literally spend years going over the Talmud.
And we did a show on that like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago at this point.
I had an episode taken down talking about the stuff in the Talmud.
That's right.
Now show them the other one real quick, because I think that this is very pertinent to the case that we're talking about here. I mean, I could show you stuff on so many different topics that is abhorrent and disgusting. But this is just a little taste for y'all about some of the shit that's actually in there. Let's see, what does he say? Yeah. I'm gonna make sure to show that video also that you got. Appreciate it. Oh, I was talking to Steve. Shout out to AM Wake Up, the crew over there. Much love to y'all.
What's good, Steve?
In fact, I'm gonna share this. I'm gonna share this comment on the screen.
Just, we just wanted you all to see that. Again, I mean, I wish this didn't dominate so much of the last 2.5, 3 months. I really wish it didn't. No, there are other things that.
But the difference is between me and Chris is I'm glad it does. I've been wanting to talk about this shit for fucking ever.
Yeah, so it's you know that the problem is you can't have the honest discussion, debate about it. You and I can, you know, the people here can, but you know, we're small compared to, you know, a CNN or an ABC, and you know, organizations like that. You know, but again, as usual, I always just tell people, you know, try to get to your aunties, your grandmas, and all that too. You know.
Mhm.
Uh,
And I
is there
shared this. What the heck?
is there anything else though, Marcus? Before we wrap it up, I don't think I had.
Oh,
I
I
don't
sent I
think I
sent you one
had.
other. I sent you another video in there. Damn it! Why come it won't post? And dang, it blocked my own comment. I was sharing one from Steve. Oh man, that's probably why it blocked that one. I'm wondering if I could phrase it another way. I think I can phrase it another way to slide it across the plate. Yeah, it was one other video from this because you got to give let's give somebody from their side a rebuttal.
I'm looking for it now, Marcus. Give me a second.
Really?
I don't want no.
Here, cut that out. Okay, wow. It's playing games with me.
I don't want no whips and chains.
Yeah, that's the last one. Seems like it's way more depressing. I mean, honestly, what it is I think some of y'all people don't want to
Marcus, which one did you want me to
show? Let me hop in there and see.
Oh, no, hold on. I want to show this other
Oh,
one.
I forgot. We completely.
This other one
I'm
you
gonna just
sent
throw
me.
this. You see it? The from GNN. Oh yeah, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent you that one too. And look at that.
Just
Times
read
of
what it
Israel.
says. Read what it says. The J Post is there.
J Post is there. We got CBS Mornings. We got the Independent. We got Plus Media, which that is a just leave it alone. But yes, yeah. What's wrong with y'all? 31 watching, only 14 likes. Well, y'all don't think we're doing a good enough job? I mean, a like is free. Come on, y'all can't hook us up with some likes, get us in the algorithm. Come on, y'all. We put in some work. Yeah, I mean, and Ruby, if you have questions, definitely come to me on some Bible questions. I can help you out. I mean, actually, somebody who I saw who
you said you sent another one?
Impressive. Yeah, I sent one that Steve sent over that I want you to throw up. What was his name? I can't. Dang, I just blanked on his name right now. Kurt. What's his last name? Kurt Metzger. I was actually surprised at a lot of his Bible knowledge. I was like, oh yeah, he's on point. He knows a lot of stuff. And I disagree with him on a handful of things here and there, but I was actually impressed with his Bible knowledge. I heard him on an interview with Burmis. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one.
And 770, which is their headquarters. So today, Chabad and 770, which is their headquarters in Brooklyn, are all over the news. They're on the front page of the New York Post all day long. They're trending on social media, hundreds of thousands of views. Unfortunately, this was a Chilul Hashem. What happened? A fringe group came in. They built this tunnel. They were not cooperating with the police, and it wasn't a good look for us. But Chabad, who's an incredible organization, they welcomed me with open arms and they made me want to convert to Judaism. They have nothing to do with this. They're amazing. It's just this group that decided to act poorly. We're all condemning it. But anti-Semites are now using this as fuel to put out conspiracy theories against us, saying, oh, what are they doing in those tunnels? And this is the reason Jews get kicked out of every country. Their actions did not cause you to be anti-Semitic. You were an anti-Semite all along. That hate was in your heart. So stop pretending that this news came out and all of a sudden, oh, you hate the Jews. No, you always did. And we're going to fight back against this because anti-Semitism is unfounded in anything. And we deserve much more respect. We deserve much more love than we're getting. The Jewish community puts out so much love and peace in the world. And we're going to continue to do that. And anti-Semites, you got to go. It's enough. We've had enough of you. We stand for peace. We stand for love. We stand for Hashem. And we're going to keep doing that. We're not going to give up who we are because of you.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know.
Exactly. What a load of crap. Woman is so full of shit. And if you guys ever wonder when they say like Hashem, the reason why they say Hashem is they believe it's like prohibited and it's forbidden that you can't use the actual name of God. Can't. So that's why they say Hashem, which Hashem means in the name of. Which you'll hear some of they'll be like, some if you like really try to press them, they might say Adonai, which Adonai just means Lord. But I got a different, guess to why I think they don't want to say it. Because the scripture says the name of the Most High is dreadful in the mouth of a heathen. And I'll leave it at there. They don't want to say it because they know the ramifications for dishonest people using his name. It's almost like cursing yourself.
She said a lot, like
but Chris, but out of all the things she said, I got a question also. I got a question. Mm-hmm. Could I take up Buddhism and now that makes me Chinese? Could I move to India and now that makes me makes me actual Indian? Could I just start eating curry jerk and now call myself a Jamaican? No. The thing about it is when you're going back to, and as I would say, as they say, Yehuda, when you're talking about Yehuda or the Yahudim, it is a ethnicity. You can't just convert to an ethnicity. Now, Judaism, that's what you're talking about, which is some bullshit y'all made up. I mean, let me stop. I'm gonna start getting in my bag and get a little wild.
Yeah,
I'm gonna calm it down. I'm gonna wait till I have a debate and do it on my Hebrew Apologetics channel, which, by the way, if you guys are interested in checking that out and you want to get a little bit of understanding on the whole Antichrist stuff, because a lot of people are talking about the Antichrist and all that stuff right now. That is the most recent video me and Jose just did. I recommend you guys check that out. No, I don't hear Yonin. If they want teaching, they got to come over to Hebrew Apologetics, and I'll do it over there. No, Ruby, you got to leave that curry shrimp alone. Gotta leave that curry shrimp alone.
The curry part is good. The shrimp is the part.
Can't do the shrimp. Got to stay away from those bottom feeders. Got to stay away from the bottom feeders. It's not only a commandment, but it's bad for your body.
What they say, everything that's supposed to be bad make me feel so good. Everything they told me not to is exactly what I would. I tried to stop, man. I tried the best I could, but
oh man, that's the best way to end out the show with crazy ass Yeezy. That's a good way to end out with his crazy ass.
right? Yeah, I guess everybody, thanks for sticking with us. It was kind of late, but we were watching football. Congrats on the Chiefs again on their win. Tomorrow we got
Appreciate
football
it.
games all day. I don't know if anybody in the crowd follows NFL, but there should be a few sports heads in here, maybe a few women too. Maybe sit down with your man and watch the games. But yeah, tomorrow's a nice winter
Hold on.
Sunday football. Even
I'm
though the
gonna,
shit be looking.
Let's see. I'm gonna put this in the chat for Chris was asking how do you spell it.
Baba, I don't know. Probably, here's the thing, it's funny. We all tend to look at like the presidential election, Everybody should just, as a last ditch effort, right before the shit really hits the bottom, because everybody should run for Congress, right? Run for Congress. Try to get them people out the house. That should be the best thing, like regular people in there. Senate a little bit harder, but at least in the House, you could put in some work in the hood and possibly just get a seat for 2 years.
God will destroy
Sorry about that.
the return.
It didn't want to let me come back over. I guess let me do this on my phone. I'll put this in the chat because I had somebody asking for a link to the show, and I could do it that way. I'll just
do that.
search. Oh, you'll put it in there for Hebrew apologetics.
I got you, bro.
All right. Yeah, just put the link in the chat. Like I said, the last video I just did, or we just did, it's called The Antichrist, Prophecy or False Doctrine. Well, that's good that you just already naturally do that.
Am I frozen
That's a good thing. You were for a second. You're good now. I know catfish. That I know people love that too, but gotta leave that alone. All of that stuff. Trust me, it wasn't easy. I mean, fish was like one of my favorite foods, and once I heard that, I kicked it. Never looked back. Chris knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember when I dropped all that stuff instantly. It took me a little longer to stop smoking, but I did.
You need that. You need to get right with the Lord and tell him like, yo, look, you put it here, I'm gonna use. That's it.
Well, but here's the thing. It's just about doing harm to the body. Now, technically, you still can consume it as food. So edibles are technically kosher. Yeah, but Thomas, you can eat salmon, you can eat red snapper, you can eat fish still, just not that fish. Fins and scales. It needs to be both.
Scales. Yes. Anything with scales. Anything that eats shit, you shouldn't consume.
Yeah, I mean, would you eat a vulture?
Trez, I suppose it depends on what they ate.
And so I guess it depends on whose ass.
Yeah, I guess it depends on whose ass paws and what they ate, because you could be eating, you could be eating secondhand catfish. Nasty.
Yo, Chris, that video I sent you the other day. Well, old boy was trying to do. He was like, I can't even do my video. And the title's I can't even do my video. He kept looking up at old girl. He was like, cat just smell like trash. Hey, well, I mean, Mystical had a line in the song. Said somebody better stop her. Running around, pussy smelling like Red Lobster.
Yeah, he did.
He said, if you smell it shrimpy, get your fucking shirt and shit.
Correct.
So hey, they be trying to tell y'all what to stay away from.
Ruby, I just posted something for you. Ruby.
So Metzger was a J-dub. That makes sense why he get a lot of it correct, but still get some shit wrong. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, J-dubs compared to the rest of the Christian community, they understand the Bible better than a lot of the rest of them. It's just they fuck up in some areas. Oh shoot, Chris coming in with the Bible verse, throwing the NIV at him. That's all right. I believe in using different translations. The Good News translation. Hey, have you read some of the stuff the way it's translated in the Good News translation?
Yes, I have, Marcus. And Ruby, that's the second one regarding fish.
It literally, one of the scriptures literally says, a self-willed woman is a bitch.
Wow. Yes.
I said, what? This is in the Bible? Oh, wow. This is in the Bible. A self-willed woman is a bitch. And what it's talking about is if you don't put God first and you just doing whatever you want to do, and that's basically talking about those Miss Independent, I don't need no man, blah, blah, blah. It's talking about them kind of women, which I hate to say it, you don't even need the Bible to know a lot of them are bitches. So, I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Jesus did lower the sheet of unclean food for Peter. That's not correct. You got to read more context to that. He wasn't talking about food there. It's not what he was talking about. He was using a metaphor.
Thomas. I pass on those too, Thomas. I went out on a date, and I tried to get cute with the seafood. I end up with the what you call it, looking like the Clump family, lips swelled up.
You was looking like Will in that one movie.
Yeah, before Will did it, that was me. I don't know what year that movie did, but that was me, 2001. It was in the nice seafood. I was in a nice seafood establishment in like the year 2001. Yeah, my shit just bloop, bloop, bloop.
Well, it's funny. Baba makes a good point here. It says all of our language is all wrong. It's a bunch of spells. It gets us to put our negative. That just skipped down. To put our negative frequency without us knowing it. Look up Chaldean language. It will teach you. Well, here's something that I used to deal with a lot. Here's something I used to deal with a lot when I hear a lot of Christians. Oh, don't be cursing. Don't be cursing. You look in the Bible, you know what a curse is actually? A curse is not saying a so-called bad word or a so-called swear word. A curse is like cursing somebody, like an actual curse. Like like in the Bible, there's a prophet who some kids were making fun of him.
Like your mama ain't gonna be shit, her kids ain't gonna be shit, they kids ain't gonna be shit, like that curse.
And then it happened. That's a curse. That's like a real curse. That's what it's talking about, like actual cursing somebody. Be like, I swear to God that your whole family dies. That's a curse. That's cursing somebody. That's what that's talking about. It even tell you don't be swearing either. When you be like, man, I swear on everything I love, cuz. You ain't supposed to do that, you fucking idiot. And Chris, I know you know people down there that talk like that, don't you? I mean, it's all of this stuff. Think about it. We use spelling, curse. They do all of this to play games. They do all this stuff to play games with people, and it's about twisting everybody up so nobody knows the damn truth. And the reason why certain things people get sensitive on is because, say for instance, if I'm the one who's the liar and I changed everything, and you start getting close to the truth, you don't know that you're close to the truth. I know you are though. So I got to twist you up on this and this and this over here to get you away from that, to walk you away from the truth. It's like a dude who he done snuck a girl in the house and his old lady coming home, and he pushed her in the closet and she like, let me hang up my jacket. No, here, I'll hang it up here. You go sit down and you relax and you kick your feet up.
It wasn't me.
Yeah. That's what that's about. People who did a lot of the lying and twisting things and who are hiding information, they know when people are getting close. And so for those people, they watch them and they try to redirect them. That's the reason why you got Kanye out here talking about the black people are actually the real Native Americans now. Not that long ago, he was talking about black people are the real Jews.
Yeah.
So anything that he hears that's being talked about, anything that he hears being talked about, if there's even a grain of truth in it, he has to go out and say it. You know why? Because what is Kanye looked at to most of the world as? As a fucking idiot. So if Kanye's saying it, it discredits anybody who might be bringing out some form of a truth. Now, I'm not saying that like some of these idiots talking about, no, 90% of black people were already here and we're all the no, stop that. It's 5%, 10%, maybe like 10% like we're actually here, and maybe like you got like another 10% who has some mixture with Native American and their African blood. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you that. I'll spot you 2025. But I can't give you 80, 90%. That's some fucking nonsense. So what's up with the lion and the lamb verse? They always change this stuff. And yeah, that's
Marcus,
right. Yeah, we need it. It's
3
like
o'clock over.
That's right.
Yeah,
oh shit, it's
my
almost
West
midnight here.
Coast,
Yeah,
Midwest people in the chat. Yeah, you guys are like, well, it's kind of late. It's 11, 12 o'clock for me.
They're like, we'll just keep him going a little bit longer. We know Marcus will keep answering questions.
And my
I did have these two comments. Let me answer these two comments, and then let's see. Check the rock fan real quick. See if it's anything you need to respond to over there, or if we need to respond to anything. But Meteor Dream said this earlier. Do you guys think we're any closer to the state of Israel not being a thing anymore? If we go to World War III, the state of Israel won't be a thing anymore because they will get their ass obliterated.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. And that's the reason why I look at some of these people over there like, you know that you're part of like a suicide death cult, right? Like you guys are literally flirting with your own demise by wanting to fight all these people. I mean, this ain't 1960s anymore. This ain't 1948. These people got a lot more weapons and they can actually fuck you up. But y'all playing with them like it's nothing. And then Janice says, it's suspicious to me that it's even making the news. And I think the reason why it's making the news so it can take some attention off of what's going on in Israel right now and take some attention off of some of the information that's being brought out in the ICC, because public opinion has not been on the Zionist side and they are trying to control the narrative. So. All right, but that's
well, everybody,
that's
thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. And as usual, I haven't said in some time. Take care of yourself, your health, your wealth, or whatever you got. Take care of your family, your friends, your immediate circle. Make sure everybody's all good. Check on people. Sometimes a phone call, a text message, all that shit go and make somebody's day go. So. you know, I know we talked about a lot of negative things, but there's still some positive things in life, right? And you should make the most of it when you can. Some of this stuff is out of our control individually. Collectively, maybe we may be able to do something, but on an individual level, there's not much we can do, right? But again, you know, find the beauty in the struggle, as I like to say. But that's all I got to say. Marcus, take us home.
Yeah, and to end on that and following up, Chris, man, thank y'all all for being here. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all here with us. It's our pleasure to be able to bring this information to y'all and any of these stories, and we glad y'all still rocking with us. And as long as we're gonna be able to do this, we'll keep doing this. Oh yeah, out there, please, y'all help us with the likes, you know. Get us in the algorithm. That way more people can get this information. That's a way that you can help fight back against some of this stuff. Make sure y'all enjoy y'all Martin Luther King specials. I mean, for y'all who have the day off, y'all don't get too crazy. Make it through the day. One thing, y'all, we'll probably talk about it next week, but shit is getting crazy down in Guatemala. They walking into TV stations and like holding people hostages. So it's some crazy shit going on. They trying to like throw former presidents in jail for like decades. So just wanted to throw that out there. I already know that 2024 is going to keep exposing shit and getting crazier and crazier.
You know what I meant to bring up too, and it totally slipped my mind till now. God damn it. Yo, they ran up live in the news spot in Ecuador.
Yeah.
So they ran up in there. Nah, this our shit now. Yeah, so we have to talk about that next week. Because you don't often see them running up on a TV show shutting it down.
So yeah, it's wild. It's definitely wild. And I think that this is, people don't know, Ecuador is like becoming one of the most dangerous places too in South America. So it is something that we're gonna have to start talking about more and more. Again, much appreciation to all y'all for being here. Much love to all of y'all. Yeah, we'll talk about Venezuela and Guyana. We will definitely talk about all of that. And oh yeah, if y'all have any stories y'all want us to talk about that y'all saw going on, of course we can't keep up with everything. Make sure y'all just send us a DM and we'll holler. We'll talk about it.
That's it. Correct.
Yeah, let us know. But that said, y'all have a good weekend. Much love. We'll holler at you.